challenging, but that the government will respond firmly and appropriately to the current trends of COVID-19. The Children's Rights Alliance has called on government to consider keeping Jesh schools open in the event of a new coronavirus lockdown. The prospect of closing schools for 2 weeks rather than one during the Halloween midterm was raised at Cabinet this week. However, the Department of Education has played down the prospect, saying no decision has been taken yet. Chief Executive of the CRA, Tanya Ward, says closing schools will be particularly impact on children from disadvantaged backgrounds.
In the UK, when they introduced the lockdown, they actually left schools for disadvantaged children open. There's some of the things we might need to be thinking about.
The Social Democrats have called for an independent investigation into why the Arts Council cancelled a communications tender worth €500,000. The Sunday Times reports the council sent out a notice last week to say it had terminated the competition with no winner. It says it reviewed all costs and has decided to move away from engaging external PR services. Sockderm's arts spokesperson Gary Gannon says many firms went to great expense to submit bids.
The Arts Council asked them to develop a very expensive and complicated tendering process and then move the goalposts 4 months later. It's cost a lot of companies money, a lot of frustration abounds around it.
It's 1:02.
News Talk Weather.
Thanks to the AA. For great value home insurance, go online to theaa.ie.
Mostly dry today with sunny spells. However, rain will develop on western coasts this evening. Highest temperatures of 12 to 16 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Hello there, Joe Malloy with you this afternoon. COVID chaos again in the build-up to a Republic of Ireland kickoff. 5 players have been ruled out of today's match against Wales. Unfortunately, news arrived this morning that a member of the playing group has tested positive for COVID-19. That player, needless to say, is out of the game, as are 4 fellow players deemed close contacts. Ireland kick off against Wales at 2 o'clock. We do have live commentary of the game here and Off the Ball. In a few moments' time, we'll also speak to Gary Owens, interim CEO of the FAI, about the past week. 53106 is the text number. We're at Off the Ball on Twitter. Nathan Murphy is standing by at the Aviva Stadium. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joe.
Wow.
I'll tell you, we came here, the loudspeakers came on and they played Crazy World by Aslan, and never has it been more appropriate.
Well, indeed. So news has come through, a positive test in the playing staff, and as I mentioned, 4 close contacts who we understand are Callum Robinson, John Egan, Alan Brown and Callum O'Dowda. The name of the player, for privacy reasons, who has tested positive being withheld.
Yeah, so those 4 players are out of today's game and out of Wednesday's game in Finland. And this follows on, but is not connected in any way to the case that ruled Aaron Connolly and Adam Ida out of the game in Slovakia on Thursday night. And if you've missed this completely over the last 24 hours, it turned out that that FAI staff member who tested positive and was the close contact then for Connolly and Ida, that was a false positive, and he has since tested negative since returning to Ireland. This is a completely different scenario. As you say, an Irish player, a member of the playing squad, tested positive on Friday, and 4 other players were deemed as close contacts. So that means that they now must isolate as well, and means that coming into a game still of some importance, though obviously everybody's still quite down after Thursday night, but still a game that has a large degree riding on it in terms of seedings for World Cup draws, and even in terms of what could happen with playoffs around the Nations League. Stephen Kenny has a really depleted squad to the extent he's only able to name 5 outfield players among his substitutes, and it's just turned into an almighty mess.
It sure has. Give us the 11.
So the 11 actually is still quite a strong starting 11 he's been able to put together. Darren Randolph continues in goals. A back 4 of Matt Doherty, Shane Duffy, Kevin Long, who comes in place of John Egan's, and Enda Stevens. Jason Malumbi, he will start in the middle of midfield alongside Conor Howerton. So you'd expect he'll replace James McCarthy, who misses this game through injury. And then the 3 in front in midfield will probably be Jeff Hendrick as the number 10, Robbie Brady on the right, and James McLean on the left, and Shane Long will lead the line. So it's an extremely experienced Republic of Ireland 11 that is going to start this game. It is the strength in depth on the bench, considering an awful lot of those players played well over 90 minutes, over 100 minutes on Thursday night, that a bit of fatigue may creep in on a sunny day here in Dublin. So far from ideal preparations. I know you're going to talk to Gary Owens. You may find out exactly when Stephen Kenny heard this news and how much time he got to go and prepare this side and throw players in at the very last minute. But for Stephen Kenny, having waited so long for this opportunity to have it so disrupted in the build-up to the huge game on Thursday night and again today, is extremely frustrating. And you could see that frustration yesterday in his pre-match press conference, particularly with what happened with Connolly and Ida. And it means that right now he's missing McGoldrick and McCarthy, Coleman, Arthur, all through injury. Connolly and Ida are back in England. Robinson, O'Dowda, Egan and Brown all ruled out of today's game as well.
Yeah. Of all the players he would have spent a lot of months thinking about and watching and weighing up, it's decimation, really. Wales pitch up, how are they?
Wales are in decent shape. Aaron Ramsey has linked up with the squad. He didn't play in that friendly against England during the week. He's been training with Juventus and he arrives fully fit, according to Ryan Giggs, their manager. Gareth Bale is the one big absentee from this Wales squad, but they've got a good attacking talent there of Daniel James, Aaron Ramsey and Harry Wilson all playing just in behind. Kiefer Moore, who was a big doubt with a toe injury, but he passed the late fitness test. So the Wales team, Wayne Hennessy in goals, Conor Roberts at right back, Ben Davies at left back, and Ethan Ampadu, who played midfield in midweek, he goes back to centre half alongside Joe Roden. Matt Smith and Joe Morrell in the middle of midfield, James on the right, Wilson on the left and Ramsey just in behind Moore.
OK, stay with us a moment, Nathan. I'll pick up with you in a few moments' time, or feel free to come in at any stage. But Gary Owens is with us, interim CEO of the FAI. Gary, afternoon.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
I'm very well. I hope you are as well. Obviously, very concerning news. When did the news come through of the positive test to the player?
It came through late last night, Joe. So obviously that had implications then for those that were deemed to have close contact. So we got the results about 9 o'clock, and we had the deadline with the squad then by 11. So we had a hectic night last night.
And you have to go through a process, I presume, of identifying who is a close contact. How do you deem that? How do you find that out? What protocols are in place to establish who was and who wasn't?
Well, we followed the HSE guidelines and the UEFA guidelines in relation to definition of casual and close contacts. So any infected person has to do a detailed report, and then we would look at our own records, flights, buses, dressing rooms, restaurants. We had a level 2 in Slovakia, so you go through who was with who. So it's quite a detailed process, but it follows the protocols that are laid down by both the HSE and UEFA.
For privacy reasons, we're not naming the player who was tested positive, but we can certainly say that Callum Robinson, John Egan, Alan Brown and Callum O'Dowda have been deemed close contacts. Just to clarify, they're out of the Finland game regardless of whatever test they may or may not have. Well, I mean, anybody who's identified as a close contact of someone who with a positive test is out of the matches yet. Okay. It's been an eventful week, to say the least. Can we just look back on what happened around Slovakia for a moment and just get some clarification on a few points? As I understand it, a non-footballing positive occurred on Monday, and he was replaced by a colleague with the same skill set, and that new colleague tested negative on Tuesday before being admitted to the bubble and flew out to Bratislava. It was on Wednesday that person tested positive, Gary.
Yeah, so he had to have a UEFA test. He had an under-21 test, so he had a UEFA test on Wednesday in Bratislava. We were then told very late on Wednesday evening that test was positive. We then had to immediately put in the protocols that we'd agreed. So that resulted in 2 players having close contact. And we then had discussions with the HSE around what that meant on most of Thursday. The reality is they were sitting with 1.7 metres and they were wearing masks and it was on a flight that was sanitized. So we were trying to make a case that the risk associated with it was acceptable, and we were having those discussions with the HSE. And as it turned out, the person had 2 negative tests since they'd come home.
So just to clarify, this is a charter flight. Correct me where I'm wrong here. As I understand it, management team front of the plane, so Stephen Kenny and his backroom staff front of the plane. The players are in the section behind them. Behind the players then we have the backroom staff towards the rear half, the non-plane backroom staff. And then the final rows of the plane, they're for FAI officials. Is that about right? Is that the geography of the plane?
Yeah, typically it is. But, I mean, I think, Joe, to be honest, that's a bit of a red herring in terms of where people were sitting, because you basically do all the testing before people get on the plane. So everybody is deemed to be negative in line with the protocols. So you're not expecting anybody to be positive. And it was just look that the two players went to the back of the plane. And to be honest, I think it's a bit of a red herring, to be honest, in relation to the overall problem.
But it's not just look if we have designated seating. Like, there's designated seating for a reason. And there's no need. This is a 3-hour flight. Like, I understand if you're walking down the corridor by someone, you don't necessarily have to, turn around. But when we're talking about 3 hours on a plane together, I don't think it's just necessarily down to luck, and the HSE guidelines are there for a reason. So Conley and Ida walked to the back of the plane.
Just to be clear, the HSE guidelines don't dictate who sits where on the plane.
No, I'm talking about the 2-metre guideline. So, I mean, I know it's close, and I accept it's close, and that's very unfortunate.
To be fair, anybody could have ended up being positive. I mean, that's one of the issues at the moment that we have, is that you're deemed to be a negative at a point in time. So,
sure.
With the player that has ended up being positive, they had a negative test on Tuesday. So anybody on that plane could have ended up with a positive test. As it turned out, the person who had the positive test in Bratislava ended up having 2 negative tests.
I understand that, but players missed the game, and it's a huge game, and Stephen Kenny's clearly upset with the whole situation. What I don't understand is when 2 players, Connolly on his 4th away trip, Adamida on his 2nd away trip, walk to the back of the plane and they sit down, and I don't know, is that in your vicinity? Why does nobody say to them, go and sit with the other players? Like, there's going to be I understand there's an internal review happening. Like, I just don't understand why that wouldn't have happened. That's surely a big mistake.
I think, listen, we are going to carry out a review with both, I think, UEFA and the HSE in relation to all the protocols that are in place. I think the fact that they were sitting on the plane, it could have actually happened to anybody. The reality was the plane was delayed. We were an hour and a half late. We were getting on the plane. Everyone was rushed to try and get up. The 2 players went down, and the 2 officials just sat in the middle of the plane, and we never said any more about it. It was as simple as that. And I think, to be honest, of all the issues that we're going to review, where people sit on the plane is probably the least issue, to be honest.
I don't understand that, though. It's where they were sitting on the plane is the reason they missed the game.
No, the reason they missed the game was because the person who actually had a positive test on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Effectively, that person ended up with 2 negative tests. So that could have happened to anybody, and it did happen. I mean, we've had a player now that is positive. And, there are 4 people now who can't play today because they've got contact.
Yeah, no, I get that.
So,
and look, there's no issue whatsoever with that. Like that, we are in extraordinary circumstances, and that is going to happen, unfortunately. And so I fully accept that. Like that is just deeply unlucky. But when there's an area on the plane for players who obviously under the circumstances of a huge match are probably very, very important, for obvious reasons. No one's health is more important than anyone, but in terms of getting these players onto the pitch safely, it doesn't make sense to me that you watch 2 players leave the group for 3 hours, sit at the back of the plane, not just keep them all together like that. I don't know. You're saying in your review that's not an issue at all.
No, I think we review everything, but just think about what happened. We've had a positive player, and now we've 4 players who can't play.
Sure.
We had a positive team member on Tuesday or Wednesday when he was, and only 2 players couldn't play.
Yeah.
So actually having all the players together, in hindsight, I think we need to think about where people will sit on the plane and review it. But we've actually had 4 players out as a result of the players sitting together.
I accept that, but it's probably difficult to keep players apart when they're so involved together. I would have said that it's the other on the flight. Players giving it to each other is probably unavoidable, I would say, when there's a breakout. But a non-footballing member of staff on a plane giving it to a footballing member of staff, that would strike me as avoidable.
Well, everybody has clear roles and responsibilities that are on the plane. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. So we need to review the roles and responsibilities we would have. But nobody travelled on the plane that we didn't need there. So the fact, when you think about it in terms of what actually happened, we had a player who was positive, and now we've 4 players who actually can't play today. So I think the point of where they're sitting on the plane is irrelevant, to be honest. I think we need to sit on the side. I mean, the assumption you're doing with all the protocols and all the tests beforehand is that everybody gets on the plane is actually negative. What has happened, and it is a lesson, is that subsequently these people can become positive, and then it does have quite significant implications. So So we do need to sit down and review that process with UEFA and the HSE in relation to the guidelines we've agreed with them.
Okay, so you're not actually sure having the players sitting together is the best thing. That's what you're saying.
Well, I'm saying we have had the players. I mean, if you look at what happened with our positive test last night, we've now lost 4 players because they were sitting together. So I don't think where they were sitting on the plane is that relevant. I think what we've got to look at is the protocols that we're following, both with UEFA and the HSE. You're doing all the negative testing, so the assumption you have is everybody is getting on the plane is negative.
So what's the solution then? Dan McDonald reported that squad members have queried whether plans should have involved a bigger plane. Did any of those squad members make that point to you, or a second plane?
Well, we're looking. I mean, the reality is that there was 53 on the plane. If we followed those guidelines, we would have needed 4 planes. We would have only been able to fit 16 on the plane. And I think, Joe, that needs to form part of a review. We will look at that. But it's we're using the same plane that international teams are using. In fact, Wales are actually going home on the same plane that we travelled on.
Sure.
So I think it would be a huge financial burden for international teams if you have to comply with the 2-metre rule on the plane. And I'm not sure that's financially sustainable. And I think that needs to be fed in as well as part of the review with UEFA and HSE.
Okay. UEFA, I suspect, are increasingly nervous about this situation, given the outbreaks, and there's more games to come. Next month, there's Wales, there's Bulgaria, there's Bosnia. Each of those matches is worth a lot of money. If those matches are cancelled, where does it leave the FAI regarding scheduled repayments to banks, Gary?
Well, we've always assumed, we always assumed that we wouldn't qualify for the Euros. And in the absence of fans attending games, it doesn't have a huge impact, to be honest, Joe, because we're not getting any income. We can't sell tickets. So therefore, we already have sort of agreed terms with UEFA on TV rights, etc. So it won't have huge implications. I think UEFA will learn, and we'll all sit down and learn from. Bear in mind, this is the international football is probably the first sport to start competing at an international level where clubs are releasing players. And there is a bit to learn from that. We can review it, and we will sit down and try and seek a meeting with both the HSE and UEFA to try and see what we can learn from it. But I think they will be determined to play the matches.
Okay. Connolly and Ida are back with their clubs. Are those clubs going to release them for the Finland game Wednesday, or is that even within the regulations?
We're reviewing that at the moment with the HSE. I mean, on the basis that we've had 2 negative tests, we're trying to establish now whether the close contacts of that positive test would make the players available. And Stephen is dealing with that. He's concentrating on the match now at the moment.
Sure.
But he is looking to increase the squad for Finland.
And what if the clubs say no, frankly? If they say after all the messing, the positive test in the squad, will the FAI leave it be? Or if they're within their rights, will they demand the players are released?
Listen, we need to have a reasonable relationship. We've had a very good relationship with both Brighton and Norwich. I mean, I was speaking to both of them. I mean, they were particularly concerned. That's why we didn't issue any communication around the 2 players. So I think we have a good, healthy relationship with them. And I think if we want players to play, I think they won't stand in the way.
Okay. Have any other clubs requested the return of players?
Well, we obviously have to communicate with the clubs on 4 players that have had close contact. And there's a formal process in place for that as well, and we would have communicated that to them this morning.
Okay. And what if they do now in light of this positive, Gary? If clubs get on and say, look, we just don't like the look of this, can you release our players? What's the FAI stance on that?
Well, we link in again with UEFA. I mean, there are clear rules around clubs having to release players. And clubs all over Europe are going to look at the learning this week. I mean, countries all over Europe have had difficulty with this. The pandemic is definitely causing issues. We need to deliver it in a safe environment, and we need to make sure the protocols are developed to learn from what's happened and convince the clubs that there isn't any additional risk.
Okay. Nathan Murphy, I know you're standing by at the Aviva Stadium. Anything else of note?
I was just wondering, Gary, have you spoken to Stephen Kenny about this? Because he did seem very frustrated in his press conference yesterday, and you can't escape the fact that if Connolly and Ida had sat where they were meant to sit, that they would have been available to play on Thursday. And he said that he felt that the staff member who had initially tested positive was non-essential in terms of travelling on that flight. Have you spoken to Stephen Kenny about what happened, and have you got a sense of his frustration?
Listen, of course I do. I mean, Thursday was a big match for us, and we lost it. We couldn't pay 2 players. We will define the roles and responsibilities. Stephen's part of our team, so I think he did say yesterday that we will have an internal review. I think from our point of view, the person who travelled is a requirement to UEFA, and he does have a role and responsibility that is required. So I would disagree with him on that in terms of, did we need to bring somebody on the plane? We did. The reality, as it turned out, was that person was negative, and we've had 2 negative tests since. So that's where the problem occurred. We had 53 people on the plane. Each one of them had role and responsibility. They were all tested before they went, and I think what you do is you bring the right people to support the team, and that's what we did.
Just one last thing, watching the players coming out and the backroom staff here at the stadium half an hour ago, some are wearing masks, some aren't. I'm not sure what the exact protocol around that is. Have you been working with anybody outside the FAI in terms of the risk management around COVID and what exactly the correct protocols are for the players and everybody around?
Yeah, I mean, we had to submit. I mean, the reason we got the green status from the HSE to be able to hold the international matches is we have got clear protocols. We have our medical team, and I was there for the week, and we were notified every morning. We had to fill in forms. It was reinforced every single day, exactly what we had to do. So, yeah, I'm happy that, listen, like everything, we're going to review it and see, in terms of best practice, are the protocols fit for purpose. But those protocols have been laid down by both the HSE and UEFA, and we follow them. So I think we will need to review, or they will need to review them, and we'll be happy to do that. But having been a part of it for the last week, I can tell you they are quite stringent.
Can I ask just a question, Gary? If Aviva and Aaron Connolly had sat in their designated seats, and if positive or false positive, as it turned out to be, had happened around them, I presume in their designated seats they would have been 2 metres away from everybody, or would they not have?
No, they wouldn't have. Everybody had the same distance, so it would. Okay. So they wouldn't. No, that's why I think the thing about the players where they were sitting, and I think, to be honest, the positive test with 4 players out actually proves that point.
Yeah.
In that we lost 4 players, so having all the players together, if I learned anything about it, is I wouldn't put all the players together in the circumstances that we're in. Okay.
Listen, I know you have to go. Thanks so much for coming on and taking those questions.
No,
it's appreciated. Gary Owens there, interim CEO of the FAI. Nathan, so Gary Owens there is pretty clear. He doesn't accept that the players sitting in their non-designated seats. Have we lost Nathan?
Hello?
Sorry, you're back now.
I'm back.
Sorry. He doesn't accept that the players sitting towards the back of the plane is the issue. He makes the argument, in fact, that we've lost more players by dint of players sitting together today.
But they're 2 separate issues. So he's correct that clearly the way the plane was filled meant that people had to be within 2 metres of each other, and now it seems from what he's saying that the 4 players were ruled out because they were sitting within 2 metres of one of their teammates. So the players were sitting together. The problem with Aviva and Aaron Connolly is that they weren't sitting with the players. So you can't get away from the fact if they sat with the players for Thursday,
yeah,
they would have been fine for the match.
Yeah, for Thursday they would be. I do accept his point generally. He's not even sure that's best practice going forward.
No, and they're going to have a lot of issues trying to figure that out as to how big a plane do you need and who is let on that plane and how many planes do you need then to go to cover one match like they're going to Finland in a couple of days. But for the simple game of Thursday night, the huge match against Slovakia, if the 2 players had sat with the rest of the players, you would have to expect they would have been fine to play in that game. Now, that's not to say coming back then they wouldn't have been sitting beside the player who has since tested positive and been ruled out.
Yeah.
Is there information on the test itself, where it was done?
Slovakia.
By a Slovakian lab?
Well, I mean...
Stewie's going full on conspiracy theories.
That to me is the most obvious. Like, I mean, is there more information on the false positive test?
No, not yet.
Because it's just bizarre.
I think it happens in 1 in 500 cases.
Right, just our
statistically.
Luck,
just our luck, yeah. I mean, I don't think it was Hamzik who did the test, Stuey, if that's what you're kind of suggesting.
No, genuinely wouldn't mind knowing a little bit more about it.
Yeah, no, sure.
And people don't seem to be saying an awful lot about it because it has caused so much. I mean, that seems to me to be the the real core of the issue here is that you know, we had a false positive test here, which has caused all sorts of trouble. I totally get it.
Who knows how avoidable that was. The one part in all of this, and even the case that's come out today, could well have been unavoidable, because the player may well have picked this up before he even arrived into camp last Sunday or Monday, and only started to test positive then yesterday. But if the two players had sat where they were meant to sit on Wednesday, they would have been available for the game on Thursday night. Now, some of that comes down to the players, obviously, and some of that comes down to the protocol around it and how they were allowed to sit in a part of the plane where they shouldn't have been sitting.
Yeah, and Gary Owens' response to that is everybody had been tested entering the bubble, therefore we were, while still acting as well as we could, acting on the basis that we had been tested, everybody had been tested on their way in, and so they were operating on that basis. Look, you can't get away from the point you're making, which is if they had sat where they were meant to sit, then just by dint of luck, i.e. that a fellow player didn't have it as opposed to the official, they would have been able to play. They would have been able to play.
Absolutely. And
but in terms of how you learn from it going forward, like if we're talking about the next few games, ironically, based on what's happened now today with one player and therefore 5 being ruled out by dint of being close contacts, we may have the players scattered around the plane with officials based on what Gary is saying for the next couple of matches. And that's the tricky thing. He said you need 4 planes there to get to Slovakia.
Quite possibly, and then are you into financial issues as to can they afford to send
he
4
said no.
separate planes?
Yeah, he said it's not sustainable.
Exactly, and I think there's going to be big questions about the next run of international fixtures next month after everything that's happened, not just with the Republic of Ireland, but across Europe, and what's the reaction of the Premier League clubs going to be? How many matches and how many players are going to be ruled out of games next weekend because of being close contacts or because of testing positive while away on international duty? So money talks in all this. It'll be interesting to follow that. But it's just been a complete mess. And I do think, looking at the pictures of the players walking out to the pitch, that they need to have a word with these players. We now know that there's a positive test within the group. There's players walking out on the pitch, and okay, they're in their warm-up now, but players walking out with no masks on, with masks below their noses. Okay, they may say they're in the bubble, but the bubble has been penetrated, clearly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, listen, the bubble has burst now.
And the difficulty that the FAI have and all the international bodies is, how do you create a bubble when you have 23 different players coming in from different parts of England? You have 15, 20 backroom staff who are coming in from different places as well. How do you somehow have a protective bubble? Okay, you can start the bubble on Monday, but that doesn't mean nothing has happened in the previous 5-6 days.
No, it's true. And I was asking Gary Owens there about Connolly and Ida. I mean, if you're either player's manager and he says, look, I've been called back into the squad for the game on Wednesday, we're travelling to Finland, there's been a positive in the squad and 4 players are deemed close contacts, we're hoping they're okay as well, can I go back over? I mean, as a manager, what are you going to say?
Yeah, you'd imagine it's unlikely, but these are competitive internationals, so I guess they need to release the players. But I think, as Gary Owens said, they also want good relations with the clubs, and the clubs are understandably going to be frustrated as well, though they're not going to be ruled out of their matches next week because the protocols, as we know, are different in the UK. So there's a lot of headaches, and the players do have to take responsibility as well.
I agree with that.
Now, they may say, and the players may say, we were never told anything about this, we just got on the plane as we normally get in the plane, and hey, there was a few seats down the back for the young lads, and we were just going to go back and have a bit of crack, and we sat there for however long it took to get Slovakia, 2.5 hours, and nobody senior in the backroom staff said, by the way, did we not agree that the players would be up the front and the backroom staff would be down the back?
I think when you take into consideration, you're dealing with, you're not just dealing with any old footballers here. We're dealing with international top level professionals, disciplined athletes who are used to structure and protocol and very, very specific diets, very, very strict regimes regards their social life and all of that. So it shouldn't be difficult for players at this level to adhere to a bit of structure, a bit of additional structure. So it is disappointing if athletes at this level can't do that. Then it doesn't say an awful lot for the rest of us, really.
I think that's true. And do Owens and the FAI have some responsibility for Thursday? Yes, they do. But frankly, do Ida and Connolly? Massively, massively. They're 19 and 20 years old. It would have occurred to them that every single other player was sitting in a certain portion of the plane. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, like, you can have a go at everybody around them to a point, but frankly, you'd be curious as to their rationale for going down to the back of the plane.
Yeah, and even Stephen Kenny said yesterday he didn't realise the players were down the back of the plane because he was sitting up the front of the plane. And
so is it Stephen Kenny's job to, get the clipboard out and walk down the plane and
when they're having this review that's clearly about to happen, I'm sure Stephen Kenny will be making the point that everything had to be absolutely watertight, and it clearly wasn't.
But take football out of it. We're living in a world now where personal responsibility is huge. This is the only way we get through this. Yeah. You can ram protocol down your throat as much as you want. We can go into lockdown as much as we want. But if people decide to do things their own way, then we've got trouble. And that's why when it comes to it's disappointing that top professional athletes can't adhere to the rules. If they can't do it, then we're in trouble.
Yeah, it does seem beyond belief that nobody before the flight took off stood up and walked down the plane to ensure that everybody was sitting where they were meant to. This is something that was in their control where the players sat. And Gary Owens is right, they could have been unlucky, but they were unlucky because something went wrong.
Sure, it highlights the mistake is the issue. I'm curious to see how this all evolves now if they're of the opinion that the players all sitting together isn't the best idea, and they may have to look at second planes, and this thing may just get horribly expensive, and UEFA may have to provide money to ensure safe travel. But what's very clear, this isn't really working. It's the reality. I mean, within the club game, it's gone reasonably well to an extent. Obviously, Liverpool have had some positives, and we have had some positives. But if you look at the Irish experience here of trying to crisscross around Europe, we're only, 1 and a bit games into this thing. I'm really not sure. And, even Gary Owens made the point, the flight we took, the Welsh team are taking exactly the same plane home. It's just not possible, it seems, to socially distance to 2 metres, certainly HSE guidelines, whatever about guidelines elsewhere. It's not possible to be 2 metres away from each other on that plane.
No. So,
because I asked him if Ida and Connolly had sat in their designated seats and somebody around them had tested positive, would they have been outside of the 2 metres? And the answer is no.
No, but we've seen that with what's happened today.
Yeah.
So the player who tested positive was sat within 2 metres of Robinson, O'Dowda, Egan and Brown.
Yeah. So one player takes out 4. So we need.
So he's 100% correct there. But so there's an element of luck, which I think we all accept with this, of you can take personal responsibility, all of that, but you can still be unlucky, and that's what's happened here. But you need to do everything in your power to make sure you're not unlucky. And did that happen?
Well, no.
For Thursday night?
No. The players sat where they shouldn't have sat, which is crazy, and nobody in the FAI around them thought it a good idea to say maybe you should go and sit where you're meant to sit. So whatever percentage you want to divvy out the blame, there's some for everybody there, I think.
Just on the blame, I know, look, a little bit aside from that as well, I think we're coming into a period of time now where, what's happening in sport is kind of being reflected in, or what's happening in society is kind of being reflected in sport. You can see there's a lax attitude starting to come in, and I think it's really important that for everybody out there, that sports people in particular lead the way in setting a standard for everybody else. Because I think if you see people we look up to, dropping their standards, taking their foot off the pedal a little bit, I think that will be reflected even more in society. And they are the people we look up to, and there's a very important thing, I think, for all of us, that we see, these guys doing everything right and leading by example.
Lads, we'll take a short break. Nathan Murphy, Stuey, Byrne there at the Aviva. We have live commentary of this game against Wales. We'll run you through the team again. Sorry, in the midst of all this, 5 players out today. The team has been named. It's Randolph in goal, Matt Doherty, Duffy, Kevin Long, Enda Stevens, Malumbi, Hurahan, Hendrick, Brady, Long and McLean. We'll chat to the lads on the far side of the break, and Neil Tracy has all the day's other sports news as well. Back in 1 moment.
Off the ball on News Talk.
2020 has been a, unexpected year. So what does Budget 2021 have in store for us? This Tuesday on News Talk, join me, Shane Coleman, as we bring you the full speech live on air at 1 o'clock along with the expert views on what it all means for you.
And the reaction and analysis continues with me, Kieran Cuddihy, on The Hard Shoulder from 4. Plus, you can get real-time insights across our social channels throughout the day.
Budget 2021. This Tuesday on News Talk.
Brought to you by Grant Thornton for expert advice on how the budget affects your business.
On air, on social, and on newstalk.com.
A classic reimagined. The previous one was good, but the all-new Skoda Octavia is exceptional. Visit your local Skoda dealer today.
If you've had a mortgage for years, or you're a first-time buyer, why pay more for mortgage protection than you have to? VHI now offer cover from as little as €7.58 per month. It's easy to set up or switch over the phone. Call us on 1890 444444 or search VHI Mortgage Protection. €7.58 per month is based on a 30-year-old non-smoker for a 20-year term and mortgage protection of €237,000, including a 10% customer discount and a 1% insurance levy. Terms and conditions apply. VHI Healthcare DAC, trading as VHI Healthcare, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland and is tied to Zurich Life Assurance plc for VHI mortgage protection.
Harvey Norman, celebrating 17 years in Ireland with our best prices across our biggest range. Shop in our spacious stores or online for big deals like the Samsung 55-inch 4K Smart TV, now only $649, saving a massive €120. Or kickstart your day with your favourite coffee from Sage the Bambino Plus Espresso coffee machine, only $299. And we're matching all competitors' prices, even their sale prices. Harvey Norman, your appliances, technology, furniture and bedding specialists.
Afternoons are easy with insuremyvan.ie, Ireland's low-cost van insurance specialist. Get your business back on the road with Insure My Van's best price guarantee. For super savings, visit insuremyvan.ie. City Financial Marketing Group Limited, trading as insuremyvan.ie, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
I'd like to keep my independence, including during COVID-19.
Oh, well, good for you. It's your decisions and independence that matter, not what others think you should do. Just ask if you want any help. COVID-19 is challenging for all of us, particularly for vulnerable adults at risk of abuse. Get help if you need it from someone you can trust. Continue to make your own decisions and keep your independence. Let's all safeguard during COVID-19. Safeguarding Ireland, promoting the rights of vulnerable adults. Safeguardingireland.org. Keep safe.
Join the switching revolution at Carphone Warehouse today. We've got exclusive deals you won't find anywhere else. Like get the Samsung S10 for free when you switch to a €40 a month plan with Vodafone. Or get the iPhone SE for only €49 when you switch to a €35 a month plan with free. Remember, these deals are exclusive to Carphone Warehouse. Carphone Warehouse, for the best deals on your mobile, TV and broadband. Offer subject to availability in 24-month contract.
The online world is great, but occasionally it's good to step outside of it. Why not swap your screens and devices for family fun and take a cyber break? Join CyberSafe Ireland and families across Ireland from 5 p.m. on Friday the 16th of October and take a 24-hour cyber break. Come offline and recharge yourselves, not your devices. To find out how you can get involved and download our family fun guide, visit cybersafeireland.org today.
Proudly supported by News Talk.
As COVID-19 continues to dominate Irish life, what's really going on behind the scenes? In this week's Sunday Independent, we report on the growing tensions between politicians and medics over locking down the country. Don't miss a moving interview with Kathleen Watkins on life without her beloved husband, Gay Byrne. Plus, recreate a restaurant experience at home with Rachel Allen's steak dinners in the all-new Life magazine. The Sunday Independent. Real stories worth paying for, in print or subscribe at independent.ie.
The GAA Championships are back on Sky Sports. Enjoy all the action.
Close controls. Wonderful hands.
Feel all the drama.
A moment of magic.
Watch it all live.
So strong. What a finish!
Be inside the game with all live GAA games on Sky Sports Mix for all Sky customers. at no extra cost. Sky Sports. Feel it all.
Check this out. SuperValue has even more price cuts on big Irish brands you love. Like Barry's Gold Blend 160 tea bags 500 gram was €6.85, now €6. And Ballymaloo Country Relish 310 gram was $3.19, now $2.85. For low prices that compete with anyone, it's got to be SuperValue.
Republic of Ireland versus Wales. Live from the Aviva.
On Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. New normal, same old football. Paddy Power. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
Welcome back. We'll be back over to the Aviva Stadium in just a moment with Nathan Murphy and Stuey. Byrne, Ireland-Wales coming your way, 2 o'clock kickoff. Neil Tracy is here in the studio. There is other sport going on.
I said we'd give us a break from soccer for 3-4 minutes.
Okay.
Enjoy this.
I suspect this isn't going to be a break from COVID, is it?
A little glance. I don't think there's any COVID stories in my bulletin here now. I am starting with rugby though, and a bit of worrying news about a player who could be missing from Ireland's remaining 2 Six Nations games. Not for COVID reasons though. Ian Henderson could be in line to miss those matches against Italy and France. He was red carded late on in last night's 24-12 win for Ulster against the Ospreys at the Liberty Stadium. He was sent off after charging into a ruck and making contact with the head of Dan Evans. For comparison, a 3-week ban was handed out to Josh Turnbull of the Cardiff Blues last week for a pretty similar offence. So it is hard to see Ian Henderson getting away from this without some form of a suspension. And the first of those Six Nations games against Italy is just 2 weeks away. Meanwhile, Ireland head coach Andy Farrell could also be sweating on the fitness of Jordan Larmour after he suffered a shoulder injury in last night's bonus point win against Benetton in Italy. He suffered the knock early in the second half of the 35-27 victory. Speaking to Leinster Rugby's website after the game, Cullen says they are going to be assessing Larmour upon arrival back in Ireland.
Yeah, Jordan's taken pretty heavy bang to his shoulder, so we'll get him assessed. You can see he was in a fair bit of discomfort there and stayed down for a while, so don't know the full extent of it yet, but we'll get him checked and scanned over the weekend, when we get back, and we'll see the extent of that then.
Meanwhile, Connacht suffered the first Irish defeat of the campaign, losing 29-7 to the Cardiff Blues in Newport last night. But Munster left it late for the second week in a row. Another nail-biting victory, this time against Edinburgh at Thomond Park. 25-23 it finished. Once again, they trailed heading into the final 5 minutes before CJ Stander's burrowed try levelled things up. And just as he did last week, Ben Healy kicked the winning points with a conversion. Munster holding on for a second win in a row to start the new season. And afterwards, Captain CJ Standers says it went right down to the wire.
It was still stressful at the end, I think we credit to the young boys coming through, but I tell you, they don't make it easier for the old guys like us. Look, I think we made a lot of changes late in the week. Guys had to step up over Microsoft team meetings, and fairness, everyone did well. We just had Craig there for man of the match, Ben Healy, Matt, even Roman coming on. The boys put up their hands. It was a tough battle. It was physical, and we got through it. If you look at previous years, we've been in these situations a few times now and we got the wrong side of it, and I think we've learned as a squad, and I think again as a squad we've learned, everyone together. Again, 7 changes just shows that we've got some good depth and everyone stuck up their hands, and look at that, everyone's listening in the meetings, and watching training and make sure they know what they're doing.
By the way, Stephen Kenny's just been speaking to Virgin Media. He's confirmed that the 4 players missing today, Callum Robinson, John Egan, Alan Brown and Callum O'Dowda, who were deemed close contacts to the player who has tested positive, their close contact was traced back to the flight home from Bratislava. So it wasn't anything to do with the hotel or the training ground or any other interaction. It was by dint of sitting next to the player who has tested positive on the flight home. So that's just come from Stephen Kenny in the last couple of minutes.
On rowing now, Joe, it's been a fantastic morning for Ireland at the European Rowing Championships in Poland. In the last couple of minutes, Sanita Paspore has defended her women's single sculls title. She has won gold in that race in the last couple of minutes, and that has capped off a fine day for Ireland in Poland, because there were also 3 bronze medals earlier today. Dara Lynch and Ronan Byrne came home in third in the men's double sculls. Fintan McCarthy also made the podium in the final of the lightweight men's single sculls, and that was then followed by Afra Keogh, Emer Lamb, Aileen Crowley and Fiona Murtagh, who picked up bronze in the women's fours final, while Tara Hanlon and Emily Hegarty finished 5th in the women's pair final. In golf, Shane Lowry is starting to really fall back now on the final day of the BMW Championship at Wentworth. He is down to 8 under par, 8 holes into his final round, so he's 2 over for the day. and that means he is in a tie for 15th place and is now 7 shots back from the leader, Tyrrell Hatton, who's 1 under for his afternoon so far. Victor Perez is 1 off the lead, with Andy Sullivan then back on 12 under par. It was a good day, though, for Graham McDowell. He shot a 5 under par round of 67, which left him -6 overall, while Padraig Harrington went round in 71, and he finished up the tournament 2 under overall. And finally then, a couple of stories. Cavan's Leona Maguire gets her final round of the Women's PGA Championship in Pennsylvania underway later today from 8 over par. She's 15 off the lead, held by Korean Si Young Kim. And finally then, Rafael Nadal and world number 1 Novak Djokovic go head-to-head in the men's final at the French Open later today. The pair take to the court at 2 o'clock Irish time in front of a limited crowd at Roland Garros.
Thanks, Neil. Let's go back to Nathan Murphy and Stuey Byrne at the Aviva Stadium. So, I mean, we haven't talked much about this match. Any final thoughts on everything else that's going on this hour, Nathan?
No. I think this is probably going to run on over the rest of the week, unfortunately. And there is an element of luck, there is an element of chance, but at this elite level of sport, you have to keep as little as possible to luck and to chance. And I think that's where the focus will be. Was there anything that could have been done to avoid this? The answer may well be, not really. We know that certainly the players could have sat somewhere else, but regardless, the 4 players are missing today. They had to sit somewhere on the plane. As Gary Owens said, they were sitting beside other teammates, which is the criticism for what happened on the flight out. So some of this was certainly unavoidable, but I think this is going to run and run.
Yeah. The team today then, so for people just tuning in, Nathan, you might remind us of what Stephen Kenny does have.
Yeah, as I said, very experienced starting 11. He's ended up going with probably 8-9 players out now between the COVID regulations and injury. Darren Randolph continues in goals. 3 of the back 4 who started in Slovakia continue. John Egan among the players ruled out. So Kevin Long comes in at centre half alongside Shane Duffy. Matt Doherty at right back. Enda Stevens at left back. Jason Malumbi, who hasn't played much club football at all over the past month, he'll start in the middle of midfield with Conor Howerhan. We expect again Jeff Hendrick might take up that number 10 role just in front, where he's so good on Thursday night, certainly in the first half. Robbie Brady on the right, James McLean continues on the left, and there's a first competitive start for a couple of years for Shane Long this evening. So that's the Irish side. The Wales team, Wayne Hennessy in goals, back 4 of Conor Roberts, Ethan Ampadu, Joe Roden and Ben Davies, Matt Smith and Joe Morrell in the middle of midfield, Daniel James on the right, Harry Wilson on the left, and Aaron Ramsey returns to the side behind Kiefer Moore.
Okay. Stuey, your thoughts on Thursday?
Thought we played well, I have to say. I thought we grew into the game and got better as the game went on, and not the other way. So that's always a positive sign. Couldn't really fault much after that, other than maybe some defensive lapses, which look, when you look at the Bulgaria and Finland game, we certainly improved on the defensive mistakes we made in those games. The Matt Doherty slip was very worrying, but you'd like to think that as this Irish team developed, that they were going to get better and better and tighter and tighter, and we can focus more on the going forward stuff, which I thought was good the other night. Look, we just can't score, Joe. It's just a big problem. It's and I'm beginning to, I hope it isn't a psychological thing now at this stage, where it's just getting inside the heads of the players, and it can be like that. Sometimes it scoring goals is a habit, and when you're out of that habit, it's difficult. It can be difficult sometimes to break it. But look, I don't think it should have went to penalties. I thought we were good enough on the night to win it. Certainly in the 90 minutes, and I remember even going into the extra time, myself and Nate, and I remember saying to him, I just think there's a goal in here. I think we've got a goal in us. And psychologically, we looked the stronger, even though both sides were out on their feet in extra time. I just thought we had a psychological edge, and could very much have nicked one in extra time. But it just all keeps coming back to that one thing, and that we just don't score enough goals.
Yeah, and it's an ongoing issue. Nathan, just remind us, today's match, it's, I think, difficult for people to put it into context or get a strong sense of its importance down the line. Where are we with Nations League?
Yeah, well, it's not in a particularly strong position from a Republic of Ireland point of view. So Ireland are in League B, Group 4, alongside Wales, Finland and Bulgaria. So just 1 point from those opening 2 matches means Ireland are level with Bulgaria at the bottom of the group. Wales won their first 2 games. They beat both Finland and Bulgaria with 1-0 wins. very late goals in both of those matches and weren't particularly impressive in them, but managed to grind it out. So Wales, as it stands, are in 6, Finland 3, Bulgaria and Ireland are 1. So Wales are in the best position to get promoted. With that comes the potential of a playoff for a World Cup, but it's a very convoluted process to get there. More immediately of concern for Ireland is the draw for the World Cup qualifiers is coming up in December. As it stands, Ireland are just about second seeds, but hanging on by a thread at the moment. They need some positive results over the next 4 days and in the 3 games that are to come next month to make sure that they are second seeds. Otherwise, they're third seeds. And remember, only the winners of the groups are guaranteed a place in the World Cup. So there is relevance to all this.
I mean, I think Stephen Kenny generally, Stuey, has impressed given the way the team played in particular on Thursday night, but it would be just really nice for him, for everyone, to actually score a few goals, to get a win, as opposed to being 0 for 4 on the win front, as well as they may have played.
Yeah, and I think he just needs everything just to, you know, he needs that positivity around the camp. He's very much a manager who believes in positivity, ridiculous positivity sometimes, but sometimes that can be a good thing. And I'm not talking about being unrealistic. I just mean confidence is a huge thing for him. Positivity is a huge thing for him. So he'll very much be hoping that we can put aside the difficulties that we've had over the last week or so, put in a really good performance, and like I say, get a goal or two.
This news came through last night, so they have had time to get their heads around it, time to have chats, and this is still a relatively strong side. It's certainly an experienced side. You're a player. Everything we hear about them, they're a pragmatic bunch. You suspect they'll have digested the news, put it to one side, and they're not going out there shook or rattled by this whole thing right now.
Yeah, well, you see, it's part of the job, Joe. You have to be able to put aside all sorts of things as a footballer because you know, you have to go out and perform. It's as simple as that. Go out and perform. You know, there's no other way around it. So, you know, professional players are very, very used to dealing with, you know, different scenarios and going out and performing week in, week out. Slightly different team today, and the fact that Long is coming in to replace McGoldrick, you know, it's a different type of player. I thought McGoldrick was excellent the other night in his link-up play. At times he was almost playing like a creative midfielder, which isn't ideal for us, I would have thought. But he linked up really well with Hendrick, I thought, and even Robinson at times. And so it's different sort of dynamics today for Hendrick and how he kind of connects with Long and Brady. But they're certainly well capable of doing it. Obviously, Hendrick and Brady are played with each other at a schoolboy level, know each other really, really well. So I'd like to think that the dynamic between those two will be good today.
Okay. We'll take a short break. We're back with live commentary. Ireland against Wales. Nathan and Stuey will take you through it in just a moment.
Republic of Ireland versus Wales. Live from the Aviva.
On Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. New normal, same old football. Paddy Power. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
News Talk Extra. Our email newsletter straight to your inbox. Sign up now at newstalk.com/extra.
You hold a crisp green apple in your palm. You take a bite, and the first fresh crunch bursts into sweetness. The flavour lingers, and the sensation is delicious. We've brought colour to this feeling with Kerry Pippin, one of 28 new contemporary colours inspired by Ireland. Visit colourtrend.ie to find and support your local stockist. Colour Trend, an Irish company proudly crafting paint since 1953.
Make every dish a perfect success with Autopilot preset programs. Now on the latest range of Bosch Pyrolytic self-cleaning ovens. For more information, go online to paracity.ie.
If you're selling or distributing UK products in Ireland, then with Brexit approaching, it's time to get ready for a whole new ballgame.
That's right. From January 1st, 2021, the rules of the game will change for sellers and distributors of UK products in Ireland.
Get ready for the change today. Visit ccpc.ie/Brexit. From the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. Getting Ireland Brexit ready. A Government of Ireland initiative.
At Leia Healthcare, we always want to give our members more. So now you get unrestricted access to a world of benefits that will help you stay healthy. From convenient video calls with a GP to get prescriptions online, to easy access to experts when you finally want to do something about your ropey knee or dodgy back. And if you do need to see someone urgently, our clinics are available for minor injuries, all without you needing to put your hand in your pocket. Let's stay on top of your health, in every way. Leia Healthcare, looking after you always.
Insurance provided by Ellipse Insurance Limited, trading as Leia Healthcare. Leia Healthcare Limited, trading as Leia Healthcare, and Leia Life is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Unrestricted benefits are available until the end of December. Fair usage policy applies.
Sign up to Air Gigabit Fibre Broadband today and get our fastest connection ever. The Air Sport Pack free and Amazon Prime Video on us for a whole year. All from just $29.99 a month from Ireland's #1 broadband provider. For more, call 1800 500 300. Go in store or visit air.ie. Air. Let's make possible. Subject to availability. Pricing refers to Air Gigabit Fibre 150 meg. For full terms and conditions, go to air.ie/gigabit fibre.
At Pinergy, we do more than supply renewable energy to forward-thinking Irish businesses. Our smart tools, technology and experts let us analyse how you use that energy so that we can give data-driven advice on how to optimise your energy strategy, reduce waste and drive meaningful change in your business. Visit pinergy.ie or call 0818 363 749 and talk to an energy advisor today. Pinergy. Energy with insight.
Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. This year has been a lot. Let's start fresh next year. Start the new year early at Skoda's 0% Restart event, where you can choose from our SUV range, the Kamiq, Karoq or Kodiaq, all at 0% finance. Offer available until the 17th of October at your local Skoda dealer. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Terms and conditions apply. Visit skoda.ie for further information.
They said it couldn't be done. A marketing tool so immediate, your message can reach the nation at the speed of sound. Okay, look, it's radio. Yes, radio. And because it's so simple to make, you can write your brilliant ad today, record it in the morning,
Take one.
and be on air by tea time. And don't worry, you can still sound fancy.
Notions.
Radio. We let people know your business.
Find out more at newstalk.com/advertising.
At Specsavers, our stores are now open. So if your hearing or sight isn't quite right, please get in contact. We're doing everything to make sure your safety comes first, from limiting the people in store to disinfecting glasses and test equipment. We'll be wearing protective gear, so if you can't see our friendly faces behind our masks, we promise they're still there.
Specsavers, open with you in mind. Book an appointment online or call your nearest store.
As COVID-19 continues to dominate Irish life, what's really going on behind the scenes? In this week's Sunday Independent, we report on the growing tensions between politicians and medics over locking down the country. Don't miss a moving interview with Kathleen Watkins on life without her beloved husband, Gay Byrne. Plus, recreate a restaurant experience at home with Rachel Allen's steak dinners in the all-new Life magazine. The Sunday Independent. Real stories worth paying for, in print or subscribe at independent.ie.
Republic of Ireland versus Wales. Live from the Aviva.
On Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. New normal, same old football. Paddy Power. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
Well, an unorthodox build-up to say the least, but we are ready to go at the Aviva Stadium. Stuey, Byrne and Nathan Murphy.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Joe. And the unorthodox build-up and all the COVID issues surrounding this game have somewhat overshadowed the match between the Republic of Ireland and Wales, which is just about to get underway in the next few seconds, and also overshadowed how surreal a situation this still is as the referee blows his whistle and all the players take the knee for 10 seconds in honour of Black Lives Matter. It is a beautiful day in Dublin. Many dark, dreary nights we have come to this stadium, and a packed Aviva Stadium to watch the Republic of Ireland. How you would love to see it packed today. Unfortunately, we're just some of the lucky ones to be here to watch this game, and we are underway. Republic of Ireland, green jerseys, white shorts and green socks. They're playing from right to left as we look at it in this first half, down towards the Havelock Square end of the pitch. And the Welsh side, well, they're looking more like an Australian rugby team than a Welsh football team. They've got yellow jerseys, green shorts and yellow socks. And Kevin Long, one of the 4 changes for the Republic of Ireland, getting a very early touch. Ireland played some lovely football on Thursday night in the disappointment of the playoff semi-final against Slovakia, and straight away here you can tell starting and looking to play it out from the back. It comes to this near side to Jason Malumbi, who is playing as we expected in a 2-man central midfield alongside Conor Howerhan, Jeff Hendrick playing in that number 10 role, Robbie Brady on the right hand side, James McLean on the left, and Shane Long winning his 75th cap for the Republic of Ireland. He leads the line. So here's Shane Duffy, Irish captain once again. Comes to this near side, and Kevin Long tries to drill one forward, doesn't quite come off. The Wales team, by the way, Wayne Hennessy in goals, back 4 of Roberts, Ampadu, Roden and Davies, Smith and Morrell in the middle of midfield, James on the right, Wilson on the left, and Aaron Ramsey in behind Kiefer Moore. Moore was a big doubt for this game, but passed a late fitness test on a toe injury, and good pressure from Moore on Kevin Long there as he looked to clear it up the left hand side, and he deflects it out of play for a throw in. Just down below us here in our commentary position, high up at the Aviva Stadium, it'll be taken by Sheffield United's Enda Stevens, looking for a little bit of movement in front of him, and eventually it comes from Jason Malumbi back to Stevens again, and he drills it off the Welsh player, and it goes behind for another throw in. This time it was Matt Smith who was getting across to cover. Stuey Byrne alongside me for the afternoon. It's a strange scenario for the players, Stu, in so many ways. Never mind the lack of atmosphere for a game like this. Never mind all that's going on with COVID around the squad. But also back in action 3 days after a huge disappointment on Thursday night.
Yeah, always difficult to get yourself up for games after such a disappointment on Thursday. But, you know, these guys are used with their professional players. It's stuff they have to deal with all the time. I take your point. I mean, when you take into consideration the general chaos that's going on at the moment, it is a difficult environment at the moment. But we're all in the same boat, Nathan, unfortunately, and it's something that we've had to get used to over the last 6-7 months, and it's something that we're certainly going to have to stay used to for the next at least 6 months, I would have thought. But as we were saying the other night on Thursday, it's football and sport in general seems to be the only thing at the moment that can well, for me and for yourself anyway, that can give us a lift and give us something to look forward to. So we do look to these games, we do look to our soccer players, our rugby players, our GAA players or whatever to kind of give us a lift. So hopefully the lads can give us a lift today.
Ball comes to this near side, the Welsh right for Conor Roberts. Moore is a big physical presence up front. He manages to get the ball back to Smith, and then Roden helps it out to Ben Davies, the Spurs full back, who fires it up along the left-hand touchline. Shane Duffy gets across there ahead of the onrushing Harry Wilson and just shepherds the ball out of play, and it'll be a goal kick to the Republic of Ireland just down to our right-hand side.
They're squeezing us high, aren't they, Wales? You can see they likes Kiefer Moore, as you said, he's a big lad, so Shane Duffy and himself, I'm sure, will have a good battle, especially at set pieces. He's got Ramsey, which is squeezed on in that high number 10 position as well. Always a dangerous player, probably the real creative player in the Welsh team. We've got our own in Hendrick, who I think, for me anyway, as a little bit of a new lease of life in an Irish jersey. I think I've been critical of him over the last couple of years for how well he's been playing. I think he's a lot more to give, but it definitely seems to have a pep in his step now with this, especially with this new role he's been given.
And Darren Randolph been put under some pressure there by Aaron Ramsey, but manages to clear the ball out to his right hand side. It's an all Tottenham love affair out in that far side of the pitch with Doherty and Davies. And now it comes to this near side, and Stevens, who's closed down by Harry Wilson, who seems is going to stay at Liverpool. He's playing on the right at the moment with James of Manchester United over on the left. Shane Duffy has the ball, just again a bit frustrated that there's not too much movement. There's a big gap between the back four for Ireland and the front three, but they're building it up now, and Hendrick just can't get there. Ampadu is out quickly. He got rid of the dreadlocks about 6 months ago, Ethan Ampadu, so not quite as instantly recognisable. Of course, would have been eligible for the Republic of Ireland as well, but it was only ever in mind to go and play for the Welsh.
Ireland just trying to get their mojo going a little bit here. You can certainly trying to play it out in the back. Wales seem to be adopting a kind of a sit back, wait and see kind of an attitude, although they are squeezing high, trying to force tight little angles, closing down quickly. Ramsey on that occasion as well, snapping in at end of Stevens. So we're going to have to move the ball quick as we have been doing, especially the other night as well. At times we thought we moved it really, really quick. Some lovely one-touch football interchange plays between Henrik and McGoldrick.
Throwing again, just inside the Welsh half. Ryan Giggs thinking that Enda Stevens again is taking too long to take it. Bit of head tennis, breaks down, and the ball eventually ends up back with the Welsh goalkeeper, who today is Wayne Hennessy of Crystal Palace. He rolls it out to Ampadu. Ampadu, who has gone to Sheffield United to join the Irish contingent there. Gone on loan from Chelsea again. He's been around the place, but still only 20 years of age and winning his 17th cap today. And a ball fired forward long there by Roden out to the left-hand side. Well, if Wales could win here, they'd be pretty much guaranteed top spot, you would feel, in this group and get themselves promotion back to League A of the Nations League. One of the things that Stephen Kenny will certainly be looking for is to get some goals in this side. It's been a huge problem area and really cost Ireland on Thursday night. Just 10 goals for Ireland in their last 17 competitive games. Now here's Malumbi, and he's just clipped there as he brings the ball forward, and the referee, our Greek referee today, blows his whistle.
Good stuff from Ireland again there, yeah. Hendrik, Malumbi, good one-touch football. I think it was Morel, wasn't it? Just stuck the foot out, caught Malumbi.
Now Stevens under pressure from Wilson, and you can see already that Wales are trying to press high, not giving the Irish defence any time on the ball at all. Stevens has it again. He's got 3 of those yellow Welsh jerseys around him, but he goes back to Kevin Long. And Long now to Duffy. Duffy goes diagonal forward towards McLean, wins the header ahead of Roberts. Can't find Shane Long though. I don't think he's got a touch of the ball in the opening 7 minutes of this game. Still scoreless here at the Aviva Stadium between the Republic of Ireland and Wales, and it's all been a little bit stop-start so far.
Well, McLean is acknowledging the ball from Duffy, which is probably an indication of, at times, we're going to have to, we want to play football out from the back. We want to knock it about, try and base our game around possession football, but there's no harm every now and again in a good 50-60 yard diag from Shane Duffy or from Long to those wide positions, and that's what he tried on that occasion. I know he was marked at the time, McLean, but he's good in the air, so it's an option that we have that we can utilise at the right time.
And Ireland are the team pressing high now, and Wales trying to build from the back. Comes to this near side to Conor Roberts. Howard now quickly to the one. Ampadu's on the right hand edge of his own penalty area in the sunshine at the Aviva Stadium. Back they go to Hennessy, who just floats the ball up towards the halfway line. Strong and in quickly is Kevin Long. Wouldn't be surprised to see his Burnley teammate Jimmy Dunn among those players called up over the next couple of days. Stephen Kenny's going to need reinforcements to that trip to Finland. Cross comes in from the right hand side from Brady, just can't find Long. And Wales managed to get it clear up to Moore. Out it goes to the left hand side to Davies, brings it up to the halfway line. Back he goes to Aaron Ramsey of Juventus, and he plays the ball straight over the top, and the run in behind is made by Daniel James, but the assistant on this near side has his flag up quickly, and James just a little bit impatient. It was a well spotted run though by Aaron Ramsey.
Yeah, and the Stevens might just have a little sigh of relief there. He was certainly the deepest of the defensive four. I thought he might have just about played him onside, but not to be. Good ball from Ramsey. See Ramsey dropping in deep and playing those long through balls. That's a danger.
Long. Trying to link up with McLean down the left hand side, but too far in front of the Derry man and easily dealt with by Roberts. Feels like a little bit of a flashback almost, but should be very much the start of the new Stephen Kenny era. All roads lead to Qatar, Stuey, for the 2022 World Cup. That's what everything will be building towards now over the next couple of years. And
we'll just take it one day at a time, Nathan. But we need that. Obviously, we have to. That's the goal. Something to look forward to. Something really to look forward to.
Now, a little bit of space is opened up here for the Welsh. It comes to James, edge of the area, sends it across to Roberts over his head, and he heads it back down then. He just couldn't get the connection to get it to Kiefer Moore. McLean missed his header at the back post. Now he has it and he pulls it back to Enda Stevens into Howerhan. Back to Stevens again. He fires it up there towards Robbie Brady. Nice control from Brady. And a long way from the opposition goal. He knocks it back to Shane Duffy on the edge of his own area. Out it goes to the right hand side to Doherty, and again Brady goes first time back towards Duffy, overhit it, almost put it out of play for a corner kick under no pressure, but Ireland just struggling, I think, to deal with this high press from the Welsh side at the moment. There's a bit of a gap in the Irish midfield. It's almost as if they're sort of playing a 4-2-4, where you've got Hendrick, Brady, McLean and Long playing right up the pitch, and it's leaving Malumbi and Howerhan a little bit isolated.
Yeah, they've obviously had a look at us, Nathan. You know, they've done their homework, trying to stop us play.
Now Ramsey has it midway inside the Irish half, and he smashes a ball far too far in front of Daniel James over on the left-hand side. It'll be kept in over by the corner flag by Doherty. Hendrick is in front of him if he wants him. Doherty just checks back in and plays it back into his own penalty area, and now it's at the feet of Kevin Long. Long to Stevens, and Stevens again been put under pressure, and you say they're definitely targeting Enda Stevens in this early stage, because every time he gets it, Harry Wilson's onto him in a flash.
That's the overload. Yeah. The play has predominantly come down this left-hand side, and as soon as Enda's gotten his head up, you know, he's got 2 or 3 Welsh players, or as you say, Australian-looking jerseys in front of him.
These two sets of players probably sick of the sight of each other at this stage. It's their 5th meeting in just over 3 years. It was obviously that terrible night here when Seamus Coleman broke his leg. And last time here, a couple of years ago in the Nations League, it was a Harry Wilson free kick that won the game for Wales. It was that bad 4-1 defeat as well over in Cardiff that really, you felt, sparked the end of Martin O'Neill's reign in charge. 11.5 minutes gone here at the Aviva. Still scoreless between the Republic of Ireland and Wales. 53106, the text number. Add off the ball if you want to get in touch on Twitter, if you're listening in anywhere around the world, if you're out and about this afternoon. Reminder, if you've just woken up somehow, that Ireland without Robinson, O'Dowda, Egan and Brown, all deemed to be close contacts of a player. Now James McLean, edge of the area, sweeps the ball in there, headed out by Davies. It was on the right foot of McLean, never looked particularly comfortable over it. And now Ramsey is just clipped in the heels by his opposite, number 10, Robbie Brady. You can see they're aware of the danger, and more Ramsey's starting to find his feet. He missed that friendly against England on Thursday night when Wales were beaten 3-0 due to COVID regulations in Juventus, which meant he couldn't get across for the game. Wales weren't beaten in 8 matches before that match, and now they're back just on the edge of their own 6-yard box. Their goalkeeper Wayne Hennessy, winning his 93rd cap, Hennessy, this afternoon. And Ireland pressing high this time and not giving him too many options. He goes short to Matt Smith, and Ireland do win it back inside the Welsh half. Hendrick almost got it out to McLean, and the attack breaks down for Ireland. No chances so far as we head for the quarter-hour mark. A bit quicker now from Ireland as Howerhan gets it to his captain Duffy. First time then to Malumbi inside the centre circle. Little ball to his right hand side to Brady. Brady goes back into his own half and rolls it to Long. Long closed down by Moore. Gives it to this near side to Stevens. Stevens in then to Hendrick. Back again to Stevens. Long wants a defeat, but Stevens goes back to the other Long on this Irish side, Kevin Long.
Well, Enda Stevens he's just a little look up there, because we mentioned earlier on that he had no real options in this first 10 minutes. I felt maybe Long could have been the option for dropping in. Didn't seem to have it. He was constantly forced to go back, but on that particular occasion it was actually Hendrick who's dropped into a number 10 position, giving him the option to go forward. But more of that we need. I think you can start to see now Howerhan, Robbie Brady, Hendrick, a little bit of fluidity now. They're starting to move into different positions, good movement, and creating spaces, and get this Welsh team thinking about it as well.
Now here's Kevin Long again, quickly along the ground to the Irish left-hand side, just in front of Stephen Kenny and Ryan Giggs' technical area. But Ireland really struggling to find any space in midfield at all now. The back four are seeing plenty of the ball, and they forced him into the mistake. Shane Duffy was the player who gave it away as he tried to roll it across to Howerhan. In quickly was Matt Smith, but his sliding tackle from almost on the halfway line found its way all the way back to Darren Randolph. Smith's been lively in the middle of that Welsh midfield. He's a Manchester City player. He's only 20. Probably going to go out on loan, you would expect, over the next few weeks. He's been impressive so far. Howerhan having to drop deeper and deeper. Finds Malumbi in space right in the centre of the pitch. Skips away from one challenge, Malumbi, and drives forward out to this left-hand side again. It's almost like Wales have an extra player on the pitch at the moment.
Well coached, Nathan. I have to say they're doing it very well. Very, very well. Just moving left to right as a unit. Talking to each other all the time. Even Ramsey having a look on now. He's constantly looking over his shoulder, trying to stop that ball into Hendrick. So we have to move the ball a little bit quicker than we are at the moment.
Yeah, Ireland again pushing so high up the pitch with the 4 forward players. They just can't get the ball to them at the moment is the problem. Malumbi now. Quick 1-2 with Howerhan. And Jason Malumbi, one of those who is going to be the future, you feel, under Stephen Kenny, captain at 21's level, winning just his 2nd cap today. It'll be interesting to see what he does over the next couple of weeks. Almost runs into the path of Matt Doherty on the edge of the area from Shane Long, but Roberts is back there, and then Wilson goes to ground under the challenge of Malumbi. And it'll be a free kick to Wales, just about 5-6 yards inside the Irish half, and the tempo's just picked up over the last few minutes.
Yeah, we spoke about that, that diagonal ball either from Duffy or from Long. On that occasion it was Long picking out Matt Doherty, who found himself in a lot of space out on that right hand side because all the play had come down this left hand side. Very unfortunate not to get through, but again, it's definitely something that we have in our army that we need to utilise.
Now Robbie Brady winning his 50th cap today. Robbie Brady. Back it goes to Enda Stevens. And Kevin Long starting the season for Burnley. They've some issues at the back with me and Tarkowski, so they've gone with an all-Irish centre-half partnership for a couple of matches of Dunn and Long. And Kevin Long has spent a lot of time on the Burnley bench over the last couple of years, desperate for a run in the team, 30 years of age now. And here's Howerhan. You wonder how he'd be affected by that. Pretty bad miss, you'd have to say, on Thursday night. Lovely play, building up over on the right-hand side. Long to Hendrick, to Doherty. Doherty drills it across, now to space for Enda Stevens. Oh, Stevens takes a heavy touch, might still work out for Hendrick. Hendrick on the edge of the area, pulls it back to Brady. Brady drills it in. Might get another chance, Ireland, but Wales are going to clear down this right-hand side with Roberts. A lovely attacking play from Ireland. 3-4 players involved. Shane Long came deep, got it back to Hendrick out the right hand side. First time ball to Doherty. Doherty drilled it to this near side to Enda Stevens, spotted him on the edge of the area. Stevens, I think, with a heavy touch, but it almost worked out for Jeff Hendrick. Hendrick back to Brady, and his drilled effort was cleared by the Welsh defence.
Yeah,
Ireland's best passage so
really
far.
Really good stuff, Nathan, and I have to say the key to it all was definitely the fact that Long on that occasion decided to drop in deep, and he was able to drag players out of positions and created opportunities and spacing behind.
Now Duffy stepping forward towards the halfway line, outside of his right boot, just rolls it to Doherty, who almost loses control of the ball again there. We saw that a few times on Thursday night. Should have been quite straightforward from him, and well, that means that Ireland have to go backwards. And Malumbi's been impressive in these early stages. He's been everywhere. Stevens with the cross from the left-hand side, comes off the chest of Conor Roberts, and it spins behind for the first corner kick of the game for the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah, look, we speak about getting goals. Obviously, at the moment, Shane Duffy seems to be one of the best opportunities we have to get goals. So the delivery has to be really, really good.
Well, Duffy, the only Irish player to score more than one goal over the last 3 years. He has 3 of them. And this corner kick is going to be taken down to our left-hand side in front of the empty Havelock end. And it'll be taken by Robbie Brady.
Marking as well, actually, Nathan. No one on the posts.
Malumbi as the option for short, but instead swings it in deep. Duffy goes up, Duffy wins the header, sends it to the back post. It was going to the left and wide, and then under pressure there from Conor Howerhan, the Welsh defender decided to just turn it behind for another corner kick down to our left.
Yeah, Matthew Smith taking no chances really. He was under a bit of pressure, wasn't he, after the sort of a lobby Duffy header, but taking no chances, putting it out for another corner.
So what can Robbie Brady come up with this time? Taking the set pieces ahead of Conor Howerhan. Again it goes in deep, and again Duffy gets up and under real pressure manages to win it. Matt Doherty swings a right boot, a complete air kick for him, and then Shane Duffy with an air kick as well, but it's kept alive, and the header down by Shane Long is collected by the goalkeeper. There was a blow of the referee's whistle anyways for a foul by Shane Long, but well, Shane Duffy's been double marked over there, and still he managed to get his head on that ball, just couldn't get enough power behind it.
I think it might have been Kiefer Moore, wasn't he? Just seemed to kind of just throw himself. It looked like Shane Duffy was going in a good position just to head it back across goal, but Kiefer Moore just threw himself at it, got a block on it, but after that there was all sorts of head tennis and swipes and legs going everywhere. No one willing to put their foot in the ball and try and get some sort of a shot away. It's a high elbow from Moore.
Yeah, Kiefer Moore with the high elbow, as Stewie says, and gets the yellow card for that.
Yeah, I think he's caught him badly.
On Kevin Long. And Harry Wilson thought he was away there for a split second, but the referee, who Stewie is very keen to pronounce, our good friend Anastasios Sidriopoulos.
Yeah, it's a good referee. leave it at that.
Andy, as you like to call him.
Andy.
So Kevin Long is picking himself up there, but a yellow card for Kiefer Moore. And it means we're going to have a short break in play as the Irish medical staff are on to have a look. And Ireland have come back into the game well after a slow enough start. 20 minutes gone, still scoreless here on off the ball. He's a big lad, Kiefer Moore, all 6'5" of him, and scored a late winner for Wales in the first day out against Finland. That meant they started their League B campaign with a victory.
He's got a bad cut in his eye, hasn't he? You might have to. I don't think it's cut. I think it's just badly swollen, which means he may
instantly swollen for Kevin Long, and that could be a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
I'll just have another look and see. Oof.
I think his eyesight is going to be impaired by it.
There was a definite swing of the right elbow there, and Kiefer Moore might count himself lucky that he's just got away with the yellow card.
It's just the fact, Nathan, if you can see out through it, it's badly swollen. It's a bit like almost you see like a boxer's cut.
Well, this is all that Stephen Kenny would need. Remember, he's only 5 outfield substitutes, and a centre back isn't one of them. Darrell Horgan, Shawnee Maguire, Josh Cullen, Cyrus Christie, and Jack Byrne. So, as we know, Derek Williams not involved. Either is John Egan. You'd expect to be looking for reinforcements the second this game is over. It's further complicated by the fact that the under-21s are in Italy for a huge game that they still don't know whether or not that's going to go ahead. It is a very, very messy time in international football at the moment. So we are back underway. Kevin Long looks as though he's going to try and continue. He's still holding that left part of his face, and it is a right old lump he's got there. It's ballooned up straight away. And again, Shane Duffy leaves it short, and there's a chance for Wales now to come in the break. Cross quickly. Moore links up with Ramsey. Ramsey 25 yards out, goes around one challenge, tries to take on another Irish player. Still Aaron Ramsey is eventually squeezed out of it. Back it comes though to Smith. Smith comes to this near side to Roberts. He leaves it short though, trying to pick out Ramsey. Malumbi was in quickly, and he'll give it back to Stevens, who'll just fire it long towards Shane Long. And Long can't get there though, and he's appealing for a handball against Ethan Ampadu. But the referee this time allows play to continue.
Yeah, accidental really was. It did actually bounce up and hit his arm, but his hand was down beside his side, and Matt Doherty's just got a little bit too keen.
Yeah, he had Daniel James going the right way. He was heading back towards his own goal. A little nudge in the back though from Matt Doherty, and that gave away the free kick.
It's just silly, Nathan. He just don't need to be doing things like that, because it's good intensity from Matt Doherty to squeeze Daniel James back, but he's just put his arm right down his, down the back of his back. He's obviously going to go over once he feels that. Kevin Long getting more attention now from the referee. It does look like he's going to have to do something about this.
So what can Stephen Kenny do? Cyrus Christie is the only defender. Do you put Doherty in at centre back? Or maybe the more likely scenario is you put Enda Stevens in at centre back, move Doherty to the left, play Christie on the right. So it just goes from bad to worse for Stephen Kenny at the moment. And no surprise, I think, to see Kevin Long go down there, because it was a real nasty collision, and Cyrus Christie just below us is sticking on his jersey, and he's going to come on, so a rejig going to be needed for the Republic of Ireland. And that's the only thing you can imagine of Doherty or Stevens, that Stevens would be more likely to go in at centre back.
Yeah, he just can't see out of that eye. There's no special remedy for getting a swollen eye to go down in a couple of minutes, unfortunately. Needs to be constantly ice, and if you can't see out of the eye at all, he's left with no choice. The stakes are too high. He looks disgusted. Started well as well, I have to say.
I say he's 30 now, Kevin Long. This just his 14th international cap. It's been a very stop-start couple of years. So let's see how the Republic of Ireland line up. And he is absolutely raging. He obviously feels that Kiefer Moore was very lucky to get away with the yellow card. And I think anytime you see a proper swing of the elbow, you got to think the forward has been fortunate.
So Matt Doherty's come in. He's going to play left side centre half.
Right, I thought it might be Enda Stevens, and maybe Doherty would play left back. So what we have at the moment is an Irish back forward. Cyrus Christie at right back, Enda Stevens at left back. Oh, the ball is nearly left short. Can Shane Long get there? He can't. Hennessy is out quickly to fire the ball forward. So we have an Irish centre half partnership of Matt Doherty and Shane Duffy.
Yeah, this may change, because obviously Matt's comfortable to play on the left-hand side. I would have thought Shane, being the more experienced centre half, that he might have taken up that left-sided berth. Can be a little bit unorthodox for a right-sided player to play left side, but he seems comfortable enough, Matt. He's gone straight in.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out. So 25 minutes gone, still scoreless here on off the ball on a beautiful winter's day in Dublin, and Ireland with another setback, losing Kevin Long to an eye injury after 25 minutes. And Matt Doherty is playing at centre half. Ball brilliantly sent cross field from Wales. Conor Roberts gives it inside to Smith. Short he goes to Wilson. Wilson 25 yards out, little ball to Aaron Ramsey, back to Wilson onto his left foot. Darren Randolph saves down low to his right hand side and palms it behind for a corner kick.
Yeah, obviously Wales taking advantage now of the fact that Ireland are a little bit at 6s and 7s after that change. Wilson dropping in deep there, causing all sorts of troubles. Good interchange with Aaron Ramsey, and it looked like it was going that far right hand corner, but Randolph up to the task, taking no chances, pushing it up for a corner kick.
Yeah, you knew what Harry Wilson was going to try and do. Once Aaron Ramsey got in front of the Irish defence, just laid it back perfectly, and he hit it first time, trying to bend it low into the bottom corner, but Darren Randolph saves Ireland yet again.
We're obviously down one big man for this set piece, so got to be really careful.
Corner kick sent in, whipped into the back post, and up there high for Wales went Kiefer Moore, but he was slightly off balance and he heads it over the top of the crossbar.
I think it was Joe Rodden, was it? And Kiefer Moore both looking to go for the same ball.
So Cyrus Christie in at right back. First time he's appeared for Ireland in a year at this stage. Played in friendly against Bulgaria in the 3-1 win this time last year. His last competitive game was the match against Denmark, and the scoreless draw that brought an end to Martin O'Neill's time in charge when he played in the middle of midfield. You might remember Martin O'Neill like that little experiment. Malumbi does brilliantly as well. Around two Welsh players in the middle of midfield, bringing the ball forward 40-50 yards. Out to the right hand side he goes, and he gives it to Cyrus Christie. Christie is company there with Brady. Brady drills it in low to Hendrick, who laid it off first time. I don't think he meant to Malumbi. Malumbi keeps it in play. Back he goes again. Out on the right is Christie, taking his time over the cross, left footed, whipped into the goalkeeper's arms.
Oh, it's really good stuff from Ireland. I have to say Malumbi's been excellent in this first half, but on that particular occasion, you know, taking the ball, was back to play, beating players, creating opportunities, and Wales are on the break.
And Wales coming forward quickly, but Robbie Brady had tracked back well and intercepted the pass from Wilson towards James Smith, and it comes to this near side to Roberts, and Ireland get men back behind the ball, so Wales will have to start again from inside the centre circle with Roden, and out it goes to Davies. Davies forward to Ramsey, middle of the Irish half, comes to this near side to Smith. Ramsey adding plenty of experience to what is a very young and talented Welsh squad. Of course, shorn of the talents though of Gareth Bale for today's game. Due to be back fit in the next couple of minutes, or next couple of weeks even, for his return at Tottenham.
Looking over my shoulder there when he said a few minutes. I said, what? He's coming on, is he?
And Wales just having a spell in possession as we head for the half-hour mark. Still scoreless here in Dublin, but this time Kiefer Moore has a heavy touch as they build down the left-hand side, and it goes out of play for a throw into Ireland. Should he been sent off for that elbow?
Yeah, looking at it again, Nathan, I think there's definitely a case for it. I picked it up straight away, didn't need to see a replay, thought he was very rash.
Now Hendrick,
it's fun.
Hendrick loses out over on the far side, and there's a little tug of the jersey there on Joe Morrell by Cyrus Christie, and Christie gets himself a yellow card. And I guess, well, that's where you look at it and think, how is that the same as what Kiefer Moore did?
Exactly. There's no way you can compare the two of them. Don't even think that's a bookable offence, to be quite honest. I was just going to make the point there that I wonder, the lack of a crowd seems to have strange implications on certain decisions, and I just don't see the comparison between Kiefer Moore's elbow and that from Cyrus Christie.
Now, so free kick right over on the left-hand side, about 25 yards out, just a couple of yards in from the left-hand touchline. Harry Wilson is over there, and he looks as though he's going to whip this in left-footed. Moore, I'm sure, will be the target. And Duffy trying to keep close. Ireland just holding their line in and around the penalty spot, down to our right-hand side. What can Wales come up with? It is Harry Wilson who sends it in very, very deep, and underneath it was Roden, but he couldn't get a proper connection, and well, it was an Irish player came off last, so it'll be out for a corner kick.
Yeah, it was Jeff Hendrick who's ended up marking him. Just did enough, I think, to put him off having another replay at this yellow card, which certainly doesn't look like a booking for Cyrus Christie, but
so the corner kick going to be taken by Wilson again. He spent last season on loan at Bournemouth, but back at Liverpool. He floats it in. Randolph comes in. Randolph doesn't collect it though, and he takes down the Welsh player, and it's going to be a free out. Oh, well, I thought that may well have ended up in a penalty kick. Darren Randolph, well, he had plenty of time to size up the chance to collect that ball as it was floated in. It was almost too easy. It was like he took his eyes off it. He dropped it, and as he dropped it, well, in a flash was Ampadu, and he took, I think, ball first and then Ampadu, and somehow the referee has given a free out to Ireland.
I just don't see it, Nathan. But I don't see it being a free to anyone, to be quite honest. I don't know how he's given a free out, and like I say, very, very risky. That could easily have been given as a penalty.
Yeah, there's no question that is a let-off for Ireland. An uncharacteristic error from Darren Randolph as well. Ryan Giggs does not look to be a happy man down by the sideline. Howerhan lays it off to Doherty. And Doherty now forward to Hendrick, and it just doesn't look natural at all. Matt Doherty at centre back, particularly a right-footed player there. You do wonder would they be better off putting Duffy on the left, because Doherty always seems to want to come back onto his right, even though he has played at left back as well. He has the ball now, rolls it short to his centre half colleague Duffy, and out they go to Malumbi. You got to presume Jason Malumbi is going to move back on loan, potentially again to Millwall over the next couple of weeks. Played a couple of League Cup games for Brighton, was on the bench for a Premier League match against Manchester United, but just doesn't seem to be getting the chances that he would probably expect, as Enda Stevens' control lets him down right on the halfway line. So it's a throw into Wales on this near side.
And Ryan Giggs is still going on about the decision to the referee. We just had another chance there to have a look at it on the replay.
Oh, ball is given away now. Robbie Brady has it one-on-one with the defender, brings it to the edge of the D, has options onto his left foot. Robbie Brady, and he fires it to the left and wide, inches away. It looked destined for the top corner. What a chance for Ireland to break the deadlock. And Robbie Brady so close.
Yeah, it's come from a mistake, hasn't it? Ball across the pitch, intercepted by Robbie Brady. You know, good composure, gets on his left foot, looks for that far top corner. I think it's just come off the support pole at the back of the net. I was like you, Nathan, just waiting to see that one hit the top corner. Very, very unlucky.
I did everything right, Robbie Brady, when he intercepted that back pass, brought it forward to the edge of the D, got it onto his left foot, opened his body, and you could see him just trying to bend it in to the top corner, and it was inches away. A huge chance for Ireland, their best of the game so far, but it remains scoreless with 33 minutes gone.
That's a good sign as well, because it came from Welsh possession, which Ireland, you know, snapped onto a bad pass, and something that Wales have been trying to do to us in this first half. But you know, Brady was really onto it really quickly, knew what he wanted to do in his own head. Very, very lucky.
See Dan McDonald reporting that Darragh O'Shea and Jason Knight are both set to leave the under-21 squad ahead of that game against Italy to link up with the senior squad. And you'd imagine with that injury that Darragh O'Shea could well end up starting in Finland and making his Irish debut on Wednesday night. I say Jimmy Dunn, another potential option to come back in. So the Stephen Kenny era with the young players arriving is coming quicker than even he would imagine. Now Kiefer Moore chests it down, shields the ball away from Stevens. Haven't seen anything of McLean in the game at all so far, or very little from Shane Long either. Ball sent cross field. Cyrus Christie goes up, wins the header, but gives it straight to Ramsey. Ramsey under pressure from 2-3 Irish players, but manages to get the ball to this near side, and it's cut out by McLean, who chips it to Brady. Brady somehow comes away with the ball on the halfway line, and back he goes to the feet of Stevens. He then gives it to Doherty, and Doherty hesitates again. I think he just doesn't want to make any mistakes. Oh, and Duffy, not for the first time in this game, passes the ball straight to a Welsh player. Ramsey with the outside of his right boot flicks it to the left-hand side, where it's picked up by Daniel James of Manchester United. Edge of the area, cutting in, plays it low across to Ramsey, was just in front of him, and Duffy manages to clear. Howard knocks it over his own head, and it's volleyed forward then by McLean. McLean heads it down, can't find Hendrick though, and now the ball is back with Davies. Davies out quickly to the left-hand side to James, going to have a run at Christie. Remember, Christie's been booked, he needs to be careful. James going to bring it all the way to the end line, sends the cross in over the head of Moore. McLean needs to be careful. He's got Roberts coming in behind him, uses his strength. McLean knocks it back to Doherty, and then McLean beautifully chips it forward down this near side, the Irish left, to Stevens. Back in it goes to Brady, who looked to whip it forward, and then he does eventually fire it forward and spots Jeff Hendrick. What a ball that was. Hendrick has it, right hand side of the area. Wales getting men back. Hendrick a little bit isolated. Support eventually comes from Christie. Back he goes to Christie. Long waiting in the area, sent in low towards Shane Long, but Long hadn't really made any sort of a run, and it's easily clear back there by Davies.
But the cross was poor from Christie. It was fantastic build-up play from Ireland. Very, great composure when they were under a little bit of pressure in their own box, and then when Robbie Brady gets head up, had spotted that run from Hendrick, and almost on the blind side just played a 50-60 yard ball into his path. Comes back to Christie, and the cross is really poor. It really lacks. Needs to be better than that.
It was a smashing ball initially from Robbie Brady. I thought the chance had gone because Jeff Hendrick had made the run forward. If it had come a couple of seconds earlier, it may have been clear through and goal. But here come Ireland again. 36 minutes gone, still scoreless here at the Aviva Stadium. Republic of Ireland against Wales, live on this Sunday afternoon and Off the Ball. Nathan Murphy and Stuey Byrne with you. Plenty of reaction to come after the game as well, with Joe back in studio. And Jeff Hendrick twisting his way past Matt Smith, but brought to ground, and a free kick to Ireland.
He needed to be clever there, didn't he, Hendrick? He obviously found himself in a little bit of trouble, but he used all his composure just to avoid that, giving the possession away, and drew in that foul from keeper Moore. Might argue it was a little bit harsh, but thought it was more clever from Hendrick than anything else. Good opportunity now for us to get a good delivery into the box.
Yeah, so this free kick midway inside the Welsh half. On this near side, the Irish left. And Brady has it. Wales are holding their line a couple of yards even outside the D. And Shane Duffy is lurking over on the far side of the pitch. No doubt he will be the player this has been aimed at. It is Robbie Brady, a one-man wall made up of Wilson for Wales. And Brady a chance to whip this in. What can he come up with? Straight into the goalkeeper's arms, and Duffy has... Duffy who took the keeper there. There was a clash between the Welsh defender and the Welsh goalkeeper. Looked nasty enough as well, as Wayne Hennessy came to collect that ball. I'm not sure if Duffy was involved, but it means we're going to have yet another stoppage in this game. Still scoreless here. Well, Ireland get going when they start moving the ball quickly. They're playing a lot of good stuff. At times, though, it's just been a little bit too pedestrian.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Wales have come here with a game plan. You spoke about the fact that they have a lot of young players in the squad. You can see they're well drilled. Obviously, Ramsey being the one to kind of beat it with a little bit of quality and to create. But I've been quite impressed with Wales and how they've shuffled across the pitch. Very disciplined. You can see they're trying to cut out those little balls into the likes of Hendrick or Robbie Brady. They've done it okay to an extent, but at times Ireland have had to move the ball quicker, and they've done that. One-touch football, and at times they've gotten through as well. Any of the opportunities that we've created, hasn't been that many, but the ones that we have created has been from treading balls into Hendrick getting turned, taking risks, forward passes. Could be better, but still quite good from Ireland.
Humby again strong in the challenge, but it's Wales who come away with the ball. Ramsey, who's been the class act on the pitch so far. And here he is again, just inside the Irish half, drifting out to the left-hand side. Smith. And Smith goes back to Joe Roden. And he then gives it to Ampadu. Comes to this near side to Conor Roberts. Still a Swansea, one of those players who made his Welsh debut the night of the 4-1 win in Cardiff. Well, I mentioned Ireland's struggle for goals. They've also been very strong at the back over the last couple of years. Don't concede many. So it'll be interesting as Stephen Kenny tries to get more goals into the game. Does that come at the expense of conceding a few more, or can they get the balance right? Here is Wilson. On to Smith. Smith trying to get it through to Moore. Howerhan scrapping away. It comes to Ramsey. Space for Ramsey. Gets the shot off. Deflects off. Duffy appeals for a handball and a penalty kick, even though he may have been just half an inch outside the area. Either way, the Greek referee says nothing doing. It was 3-4 Welsh players around Duffy as the shot came in from Ramsey. Appealing.
Yeah, Duffy just points to his shoulder, doesn't he? Did well there, the big man. Had to close down Ramsey, who found himself about 20 yards out in a very dangerous position. Stood firm, Duffy, let the ball smack off his chest. Many players turn their back on them ones and ends up in the back of the net.
First time Aaron Ramsey had a little bit of space in and around the Irish area there and was willing to take on the chance, but Duffy was out to him quickly. Now here's Ramsey dropping deep again, just surveying what's in front of him and going to bring the ball and try and drag Malumbi into it, and does that, and then lays it off to the left-hand side to Davies. Davies whips it in there at pace. Underneath it is Duffy, and it comes to McLean on the edge of the area, who brilliantly just does a couple of little solos to bring it over the head of Roberts, and it comes to this near side. Back he goes to Enda Stevens. Again, high pressure from the Welsh players there from Harry Wilson. And Enda Stevens, calm as you like, twists and turns and then plays it forward to McLean. His control lets him down. Here's Moore. Doherty goes through the back of him. That's okay though, says the referee, and a chance for Ireland to break now with Hendrick. Plays it behind Robbie Brady. Brady going to bring it over the halfway line. Has Christie on the outside if he wants him. Here is Christie. Christie goes back to Malumbi with green grass in front of him. Runs into the space. Malumbi then lays it off again to Cyrus Christie. Christie sends it in low towards Shane Long. Again, not a good delivery though, and Ampadu's across quickly to clear it out to the Irish right. Picked up again by a green jersey. Christie to Brady. Brady right on the touchline. Gets it forward to Christie. He's been forced backwards though under the pressure of Davies. However, gets it into Hendrick, and now it's Malumbi. And back from Long, but Malumbi had just stalled his run. However, Wales are penned back at the moment. Now, McLean, left-hand side of the area, drills it across, and there was Harry Wilson drafting back, and it comes off Conor Robertson, goes behind for a corner kick to Ireland.
That's really good stuff from Ireland, I have to say. Again, another good example of one-touch football, little flicks around the corner from Hendrick, Malumbi reading the play. It's really good stuff. I think on that occasion Shane Long had just bounced one into the path of, it might have been Robbie Brady, but he never reacted. Brady could have been in on goal. And again, Cyrus Christie, that's the second opportunity he's had to get a ball into the box, and the quality's been poor. He needs to work on his crossing.
Now again, Robbie Brady is going to take this corner kick just down to our left. Duffy takes up his spot at the back post, and again he is the target, and up quickly was Davies. Doherty was just in behind him, heads it out to the Irish right where Hourihan is. Hendrick sweeps it in quickly, falls to Doherty's control, lets him down. Thought McLean was coming back from an offside position. They're getting in each other's way at the moment, the Irish players, McLean and Christie. McLean scrapping well though, gets it out to Hourihan. Now Cyrus Christie, 20 yards out, onto his left foot, takes the shot and just flashes it over the top of the crossbar. Worth taking on though from Cyrus Christie. It opened up nicely, and as he hit that with his left boot, it was always rising.
Yeah, a bit of tenacity from James McLean to win the ball back. Cyrus Christie never afraid to move it onto his left foot either. Good right foot, good left foot. On that occasion, 25 yards out, you can see what he's trying to do, aim for that far right left-hand corner, and it's not very far away at all. It's good stuff from Ireland, finishing this half really strongly. 42 minutes.
Yeah, Stephen Kenny will be quite pleased with what he's seen so far, particularly I think in that midfield area again with Malumbi, Hourihan and Hendrick.
Again, it's like the other night, Nathan, we're kind of improving as the half has gone on, getting a little bit more confident. You can see we're not afraid to bang balls into the middle of the pitch, give the ball to players that are marked, because there's more confidence in the players now.
Yeah, and you got to think as well, if everybody was available, his first choice front three, well, none of this front three would probably be starting today. Now here's Brady, and Brady trying to play a crossfield to Stevens, but easily read by Wilson. Back he goes to Roberts, who goes long, and they force Wales to go long now. Duffy just gets up ahead of Ramsey, but it was a high bounce on the pitch, and Duffy wins it again. Malumbi in front of Ramsey. Again, uses his strength there just to keep the Juventus man at bay. Comes to this near side to Howard, and back they go to Darren Randolph. 90 seconds till we're done with the opening 45 minutes. And Matt Doherty, who's playing at centre back, remember, rolls a lovely ball straight through the middle to the feet of Jeff Hendrick on the halfway line. Comes to Hourihan on this near side. Hourihan not afraid to drop in just behind Enda Stevens when Stevens goes forward.
Yeah, it's important that you know your players have got your back if you do decide to make a run. A little bit of communication sometimes as well, and they might make the run to say, Conor, drop in.
And Christie goes past Brady but finds its way to Long, and Long then is brought down under the challenge of Smith, and it's going to be a free kick to Ireland.
And again, it's been created, Nathan, from the fact that Cyrus Christie's gotten his head up and he's banged the ball, really good firm ball into Shane Long, who's dropped deep. Not afraid to give ball into dangerous areas with players, players being marked. That's what's drawn in the foul.
So free kick, pretty much the exact same position we had one about 5 minutes ago, but on the other side of the pitch, the Irish right this time, and again Wales holding their line on the edge of the D. Again it'll be Robbie Brady to take this, Left-footed, sends it in deep. Shane Duffy goes in and just can't get on the end of it. He was at full stretch. He's holding his head in his hands because he knows how close he was. It was a dangerous in-swinger from Robbie Brady out on the right-hand side. And Duffy got in behind the Welsh defence, got a run on his marker and just couldn't get there. He was about a yard away.
He was never marked, Nathan. I was only even just looking at it before he took the free kick. I think Ampadu was probably the closest player to them, but Wales are playing this sort of zonal type defence on the line, willing to let players just drift off their shoulder. He was never marked on that occasion, Duffy.
3 minutes of injury time at the end of the first half. Still scoreless between the Republic of Ireland and Wales. Half has got better as it's gone on. Duffy just leaves it for Christie. And now again Malumbi, full of energy, full of running and full of drive as well. Just brings Ireland forward 30-40 yards. Now it's Howerhan. Little nutmeg on Kiefer Moore there to get it back to Matt Doherty. And chances for both sides in this first half. The best chance for Wales was for Harry Wilson, a left-footed shot from the edge of the area. That was well saved by Darren Randolph. And a couple of chances as well for Ireland. The best of them for Robbie Brady when he intercepted a pass. Shot from the edge of the D. Tried to curl it into the top left-hand corner, but just went inches to the left and wide. Cyrus Christie flashed a shot over as well. There have been bits and pieces of impressive play from Ireland. Game just lacking a bit of intensity at times, which, again, considering the circumstances, maybe isn't too surprising.
Well, Wales have done a good job at stopping us playing to a certain point. I think we've had to come out of our shell a little bit in this first half. We've had to try and tread balls through into dangerous areas. Like I was saying, give the ball to players with players up their back and have confidence that they can take it in and get turned or lay it off. And we've done that. We've kind of grown as the half has gone on. I think Malumbi's been very, very impressive. Very mature performance from him and very energetic, physical, good bit of quality as well.
And Shane Long using all his experience. He does that brilliantly, drawing the foul down this left-hand side. He just stuck his body in front of the Welsh defender, wrapped himself around and went to ground. And the half will end with a free kick to Ireland. Just relishing the opportunity to get in front of Ethan Ampadu. And Conor Howerhan wants to take this one. Robbie Brady's had plenty of chances. So Duffy goes forward again. It's just a couple of yards in from this left-hand touchline. Conor Howerhan steps up again, dangerous ball in there. Duffy goes in, he goes to ground. There's bodies strewn everywhere, and the referee just blows his whistle and gives a free out to Wales. But that was a really good delivery from Howerhan there, sent in with a lot of pace. It was at a good height as well. It ended up just being slightly behind Shane Duffy this time, and I think he dragged one of the Welsh defenders to the ground.
Yeah, best delivery of the game, I have to say. Difficult ball to do sometimes. I think Howerhan was aware probably of the last free kick when Hennessy came out and claimed it. On that occasion, put it in an area that kept the keeper on his line. And it was just a bit of a melee rather than anything. It was bodies strewn everywhere. I think it was Rodden and Duffy came together.
So goal kick to Wales to finish the half. Sent forward by Hennessy. Referee looks to his watch and he blows the half-time whistle. And at the break at the Aviva Stadium is the Republic of Ireland 0, Wales 0. And considering all that's gone on over the last 24, 48 hours, Stuey, not bad.
It's a good performance from Ireland, I have to say. You know, you can really see the differences, you know, under Stephen Kenny. Players are much more confident when they're on the ball. Enda Stevens, you know, a perfect example of somebody who doesn't panic in any kind of situation, doesn't lump the ball forward unnecessarily. I think there's been numerous occasions in that first half where he's been under pressure and he's been calm and collective. He's, you know, managed to play us out from that back. And you know, Hendrick, Malumbi, we spoke with them all very, very comfortable receiving the ball with players at their back, and very, very positive from Ireland. Just needs that goal, Nathan. That's the one thing that's missing.
Yeah, goals are what are missing from this Irish side at the moment. There were a couple of half chances, but not much more from that for Stephen Kenny's side. Second half commentary to come from myself and Stuey, but at the break here at Lansdowne Road, it's the Republic of Ireland 0, Wales 0.
Thanks, fellas. Nathan Murphy, Stuey Byrne there. First 45 minutes done, second 45 to come here and off the ball. Lots going on away from the football. Neil Tracy's going to run you through everything in just a moment, and we will review the Sunday papers as well. Around about 4:30, so Cliona Foley and Colin Keys are going through them as we speak.
Republic of Ireland versus Wales, live from the Aviva.
On Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. New normal, same old football. Paddy Power. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
Weekly wonders at Dunnes Stores. Get selected Tayto Crisp 6-pack, selected packs of Cadbury and Nestle bars and Skittles and Starburst packs. Mix and match any 5 for €5. And lots more offers in store. Plus, with our 10 off 50 grocery voucher, you save even more. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50 or more.
If you're selling or distributing UK products in Ireland, then with Brexit approaching, it's time to get ready for a whole new ballgame.
That's right. From January 1st, 2021, the rules of the game will change for sellers and distributors of UK products in Ireland.
Get ready for the change today. Visit ccpc.ie/Brexit. From the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. Getting Ireland Brexit ready. A Government of Ireland initiative.
Afternoons are easy with insuremyvan.ie, Ireland's low-cost van insurance specialist. Get your business back on the road with Insure My Van's best price guarantee. For super savings, visit insuremyvan.ie. City Financial Marketing Group Limited, trading as insuremyvan.ie, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Our generation are the generation with the power to change the world, with small steps that make a big difference. Switch to SSE Electricity and switch to 100% green electricity. Switch today and get €220 welcome credit and 10% off electricity and gas. Free phone 1-800-818-466 or visit ssceelectricity.com for our best discounts. This is Generation Green. EAB €1,797.88. Offer from the 23rd of the 4th, 2019. Rates valid from the 1st of the 5th, 2020. Subject to change. 1 year standard unit rate discount for new home electricity and gas customers and direct debit and e-bill. For details of T's and C's, EAB, rates, exit fees, standing charge and green energy claims, see ssceelectricity.com.
Now that home is more important than ever, make the most of it with dining furniture from Harvey Norman. With chairs in all shapes and sizes and a great selection of dining tables to suit your home. Dine in style this festive season. Order now and get delivered in time for Christmas. See our full range in-store or online at harveynorman.ie.
Horik here from Horkins. Have you lawn moss in your garden? Not a problem. Apply Zero to control moss in your lawn. Zero is now available for you to order on horkins.ie.
There are plenty of reasons to get an official Volkswagen service. From the expertise of a Volkswagen master technician to the confidence in using only Volkswagen genuine parts. However, to the majority of drivers, only one reason really matters. What you get when you bring it all together. An official service history. In fact, 78% of Irish drivers would pay more for your Volkswagen if it has a full Volkswagen service history. Book your timing belt replacement from only €499 at volkswagenservice.ie. Terms and conditions apply at participating retailers for a limited time only.
This is Gomo. Mobile with more for less. This is $12.99 a month for life. This is Gomo, Ireland's newest mobile network. With Gomo, you get all calls, all texts, all data, all for only $12.99 a month for life. Switching is easy. Visit gomo.ie, sign up, and you're good to Gomo. So what are you waiting for? It's time for you to Gomo. Unlimited allowance subject to fair use. 30-day contract applies. A one-stop SIM activation fee of $12.99 applies. For full details, terms, roaming, and fair use, see gomo.ie.
Your tyres are the only point of contact between your car and the road. As the miles go by, the rubber thins and wears, distorts. It happens gradually. You'll only notice it if you check them. Or if one day you hit the brakes and there's nothing left. Worn tyres are a contributory factor in 14 road deaths in Ireland on average each year. When your tyres lose grip, you lose everything. Check them. A message from the Road Safety Authority.
At Leia Healthcare, we always want to give our members more. So now you get unrestricted access to a world of benefits that will help you stay healthy. From convenient video calls with a GP to get prescriptions online, to easy access to experts when you finally want to do something about your ropey knee or dodgy back. And if you do need to see someone urgently, our clinics are available for minor injuries, all without you needing to put your hand in your pocket. Let's stay on top of your health, in every way. Leia Healthcare, looking after you always.
Insurance provided by Ellipse Insurance Limited, trading as Leia Healthcare. Leia Healthcare Limited, trading as Leia Healthcare and Leia Life, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Unrestricted benefits are available until the end of December. Fair usage policy applies.
The online world is great, but occasionally it's good to step outside of it. Why not swap your screens and devices for family fun and take a cyber break? Join CyberSafe Ireland and families across Ireland from 5 p.m. on Friday the 16th of October and take a 24-hour cyber break. Come offline offline and recharge yourselves, not your devices. To find out how you can get involved and download our family fun guide, visit cybersafeireland.org today.
Proudly supported by News Talk.
Republic of Ireland versus Wales. Live from the Aviva.
On Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power. New normal, same old football. Paddy Power. Gamble responsibly. Gamblingcare.ie.
Welcome back. 0-0 at the Aviva Stadium. Ireland 0, Wales 0. Joe Malloy here in the studio. Neil Tracy alongside me. We'll be back over to Nathan and Stuey in a few moments' time. There are other bits and bobs going on. I see in the midst of our own COVID situation, 5 players out of today's game, 4 close contacts and 1 player testing positive. Not to mention the false positive and Connolly Ida Gate from Thursday. But it's not just Ireland. Naby Keita reportedly now, I see on the This Is Anfield website, is one of 5 players from the Guinea national team to have tested positive for COVID-19. Reports coming from his native country. This is Anfield citing Foot224, a reliable source when it comes to Canadian football, say that Keita underwent tests on Wednesday. The results returned on Friday. There was a secondary test confirming his case on Sunday. So Naby Keita, one of 5 players from his national team to have tested positive. You've got the Irish situation. I suspect there may well be others. If I'm UEFA or FIFA, I'm waiting for the clubs to say,
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, actually, that is, because we were kind of talking about it off air outside the studio there. The idea of the bubble is great in theory, but you can't necessarily go from a bubble and just create a bubble for 10 days and then go back into another bubble. Like, it's the whole idea of the bubble that you're in there for a prolonged period. Like, look at the NBA. Those players were essentially locked away in that little bubble for months, if you're Lakers or Heat who've got to the finals. So it's not just something you can pick up for a week or two and then move on to another one.
We had Gary Owens of the FAI on the show.
We did, and just to recap on that, so the FAI's interim CEO, Gary Owens, has defended the seating arrangements on their flight to Slovakia on Wednesday, which led to both Adam Ida and Aaron Connolly missing the Euro 2020 playoff on Thursday. The pair weren't sitting in their designated seats on the plane, resulting in them being deemed close contacts of a non-playing member of staff who tested positive upon arrival. That staff member since returned 2 negative tests, with the FAI currently working to see if those players can now rejoin the squad. But speaking earlier on the show, Gary Owens said the issue of where the players sat on that plane to Slovakia was a red herring.
To be fair, anybody could have ended up being positive. I mean, that's one of the issues at the moment that we have, is that you're deemed to be a negative at a point in time. So with the player that has ended up being positive, they had a negative test on Tuesday. So anybody on that plane could have ended up with a positive test. As it turned out, the person who had the positive test in Bratislava ended up having 2 negative tests.
I understand that, but players missed the game and it's a huge game, and Stephen Kenny's clearly upset with the whole situation. What I don't understand is when 2 players, Connolly on his 4th away trip, Adam Ida on his 2nd away trip, walk to the back of the plane and they sit down, and I don't know, is that in your vicinity? Why does nobody say to them, go and sit with the other players? Like, there's going to be I understand there's an internal review happening. I just don't understand why that wouldn't have happened. That's surely a big mistake.
I think, listen, we are going to carry out a review with both, I think, UEFA and the HSE in relation to all the protocols that are in place. I think the fact that they were sitting on the plane, it could have actually happened to anybody. The reality was the plane was delayed. We were an hour and a half late. We were getting on the plane. Everyone was rushed to try and get up. The 2 players went down, and the 2 officials just sat in the middle of the plane, and we never said any more about it. It was as simple as that. And I think, to be honest, of all the issues that we're going to review, where people sit on the plane is probably the least issue, to be honest.
I'm not sure everyone agrees with that, and certainly it's backfired, the not following of protocols. But we'll play some of the Gary Owens interview out later on again. The substantive issue going forward is that he also said we would need 4 planes to safely bring everybody, as in 2 metres apart, to Slovakia or for any away game going forward. And that is not sustainable for obvious reasons. The cost is just too much. They can't charter 4 planes. So where do we go from here? I mean, do they apply to the HSE to loosen the 2 metre ruling and bring it back to 1 metre for planes? Do they look to UEFA for more money? As it would seem, Dan McDonald's reporting that squad members have queried whether there should have been a bigger plane or alternative arrangements. Not everyone on that plane, it seems, was happy. I think that's where the conversation is going to go now as we look to these games over the next month, and it would seem the numbers are going up generally. So I don't know, there's really no easy answer there.
Yeah, certainly the size of the plane and the number of planes is the one that probably over the next few days and couple of weeks that are going to be talked about more and more. And I think the fact that, as you mentioned as well, and as Gary Owens mentioned, the fact that on the return flight they followed everything perfectly with their organised seating plan, and they lose 5 players to it. It just shows that, like, okay, they didn't follow things, but there is still, even when you do it right, there is an enormous element of luck to it.
There's no guarantee, and you know, he was saying as well, that's one of the things they may take from this. Is it actually the right route to have all the players sitting together? Because in the instance which has happened on the way home from Bratislava, one player who has tested positive has taken 4 players out of the game. So actually maybe the best thing to do is to spread players around the plane. So if one player has it, then he's the only player out of the game. They got to figure all this out. They got to figure it out quickly. But still, like, I don't agree it's a free pass for what happened on Tuesday's flight out. I mean, that just shouldn't have happened. The 2 players have to take responsibility as well. I mean, they're 19 years old, they're 20 years old. If the under-15s were flying somewhere and a couple of lads went to the back of the plane for the crack, you'd say, what are you doing, lads? So these are Premier League players.
Bring back the old-fashioned school trip. Everyone given a number and they call it out at the start.
It's not complicated. If you were in that flight and you were their age and you saw that all the other players were sitting in the middle of the plane, I think you'd go and sit with the players. So that's part of it too, but just a mess, really, you know. And then it's unfortunate on return that we are where we are. So you wish everyone well, you know. I mean, hopefully the likes of, who were the close contacts? Callum Robinson and John Egan, Alan Brown and Callum O'Dowda all test negative. I mean, that's kind of the key concern for everybody at the moment. Anyway, second half to come in just a moment. What else is going on?
Very quickly to run through some headlines. It's being reported Darragh O'Shea and Jason Knight will be added to the Irish squad for that game against Finland on Wednesday. That's after the 5 players who we mentioned there were ruled out of today's game because of COVID regulations. Also, Sunita Paspure defended the women's single sculls title at the European Rowing Championships, winning gold. It was a 4th medal of the day for Ireland. Darragh Lynch and Ronan Byrne won bronze in the men's double sculls. Fintan McCarthy also made the podium in the final of the lightweight men's single sculls. And the women's fours team of Afra Kyo, Ema Lam, Aileen Crowley and Fiona Murta also finished among 3rd place and won bronze as well. And then finally as well, before we hand back to the second half at the Aviva Stadium, Rafael Nadal has taken the first set in the men's singles final at the French Open at Roland Garros. Took it 6-love against Novak Djokovic, and they're just in the first game now of the second set. Nadal with an advantage to possibly break serve early on in the second as well.
The golf over at Wentworth continues. So Tyrrell Hatton is our leader. He is on hole 11. He's 18 under par, so he's 1 shot clear of Victor Perez, who's chasing him on 17 under through 12 holes. So Hatton through 11 holes, 18 under. Victor Perez through 12 holes is 17 under. Shane Lowry
back on 9 under at the moment, through 14.
Under. Okay, so Shane Lowry, he's in the top 20, but I mean, halfway stage he was looking like he was riding contention. He's +1 through 14 holes today, 9 under, as you said. He's 8 off the lead at this stage. Let's get back over to the Aviva Stadium. Stuey, Byrne, Nathan Murphy. Considering everything, lads, not a bad performance at all.
No, not at all. We could just do with a couple of goals from an Irish side at some stage, but Jason Malumbi has definitely impressed and taken his chance this afternoon. He's really driven that Irish midfield. And Wales haven't started quite well. I think Ireland got on top as the half wore on. So we're pretty much set to go with the second half here at the Aviva Stadium. It's become a cloudy enough afternoon around Dublin. Doesn't look as though there's any changes for either side. It'll be Wales to kick us off in this second half in this UEFA Nations League League B Group 4 clash. And that silence is the stadium. It is such a strange thing before kickoff, and we are back underway with Wales playing from right to left. Ireland, green jerseys, white shorts, green socks. Wales, as we said, have turned up sort of like the Wallabies would here quite often at this time of the year for a rugby international. Yellow jersey, green shorts and yellow socks. So the Irish team, in case you missed it, Darren Randolph in goals. Back four now of Cyrus Christie at right back, Shane Duffy and Matt Doherty at centre back, and Enda Stevens at left back. That's because Kevin Long went off with an eye injury. He was elbowed, quite a nasty elbow as well from Kiefer Moore. Moore escaped with the yellow card, but Long had to go off a couple of minutes earlier due to the swelling around his eye. So Matt Doherty is playing on the left of the Irish centre-back pairing alongside Shane Duffy. In midfield, it's Jason Malumbi and Conor Howerhan in the middle. Jeff Hendrick in that number 10 role again. Robbie Brady on the right, James McLean on the left, and Shane Long leading the line. And for Wales, Wayne Hennessy in goals. Their back four, Conor Roberts, Ethan Ampadu, Joe Roden and Ben Davies. Matt Smith and Joe Morrell in the middle. Harry Wilson on the right, Daniel James on the left, and Aaron Ramsey, who's been, I'd say, comfortably the best player in the park so far, is just behind Kiefer Moore. So that is how it stands in terms of the importance of this game, what Ireland could really do with getting a victory to give themselves a chance of progressing and getting promoted from the Nations League, but also in terms of seedings for the World Cup draw in December. Ireland want to be second seeds in that draw. If they were to lose a couple of games over the next month or so, they could easily end up as third seeds. McLean was almost through. Ampadu was out quickly, and it's a free kick to be taken by Matt Smith in the middle of midfield. He leaves it for Aaron Ramsey to take. Well, we're saying the Irish midfield are playing well. They probably should play well when you look at Smith and Morrell. You've got a Bristol City midfielder and a Manchester City youth team player in there. So you would expect Ireland to get parity at the very least. Ramsey, the real class act. Out it goes to the right hand side to Wilson, and back they go to Ampadu. Ampadu, whose father Kwame was a Irish under-21 international once upon a time. And now it comes to Roden and helped on to Ben Davies, who faces a fight for his spot at club level after the signing of Reguilon by Spurs. Ball played in, looking to get behind Cyrus Christie, but he tracked the run well of Daniel James, and Malumbi plays it up this right-hand side to Brady. 4 yellow Welsh jerseys around him. Back he goes to Malumbi. He plays it along the touchline to Christie, but Rodden was across quickly, and now it's Aaron Ramsey lays it off to the onrushing Davies, brings it to the edge of the area. Still Ben Davies, drills it across low, but it was behind Kiefer Moore. Might still be there at the back post for Roberts, who's flying forward. Did brilliantly to keep it in play, but then his cross, it came back off Enda Stevens and it was going behind for a corner kick. Roberts was on the ground and it deflects off the Welsh fullback, so it'll be a goal kick to Ireland.
Yeah, it could have been a real problem for Ireland, wasn't Ben Davies? Never really looked like he knew what he wanted to do. Didn't really have that option to kind of put one across the face of the goal. Decided to just snatch at a shot, and luckily enough for Ireland, goes up for a goal kick.
And here's Shane Duffy. He was a bit loose with some of his passing in the first half. 2 or 3 occasions played it straight to a Welsh midfielder. Doherty, a bit like a fish out of water there as he gives it away this time. And this is where Ireland find themselves under pressure sometimes. However, they get away with it this time. The press from Long means that Wales go back, and Long doing brilliantly well and almost forces them into the mistake. Roden stepping forward, and he does give the ball away. Malumbi has it now, took too much out of that though. He could have brought it forward, tried a little spin back, but Roden, who was chasing back, nicks the ball away from the Waterford man. Now Aaron Ramsey, much like Marek Hamsik for long periods on Thursday night, you can tell when there's one technical player a step above everybody else on the pitch.
Yeah,
doing things at his own pace.
He's a free rein, doesn't he, Nathan? You know, you can see he drifts all around the pitch, and obviously when you've got a player that has that kind of quality, you allow him that freedom. He's got the ability to kind of do things that other players can't.
A little flick by Malumbi helps Howerhan's ball onto Brady. Now Cyrus Christie skips through one challenge, tries to bring himself past another, appeals for a free kick that he was pushed off it by Ben Davies. It would have been soft, and the ball rolls out of play right in front of Stephen Kenny, who claims that Christie's heels were just clipped, but the decision is a throw into Wales right on the halfway line on this near side, the Welsh left. Going to be taken by Davies. He's looking for somebody to run somewhere. 56th cap tonight for Ben Davies. Christie does well, wins the sliding challenge, and Robbie Brady comes away now. Has Shane Long in front. Long wanted to play it into the centre and plays it to the outside. Shane Long has it down by the end line, floats it towards the back post, but floats it straight into the arms of Wayne Hennessy.
I knew it straight away, Nathan. You can see when, as soon as he's hit it, he's gone down his knees, knew he's made a mistake. It was a good opportunity because McLean had found himself at the back post, just needed to stick it up, hang it up a little bit deeper. Just fluffed it really, didn't he? Straight into the goalkeeper's hands.
Ampadu. He said he played in centre midfield on Thursday night for Wales, Ethan Ampadu. Was asked afterwards about his best position, says, well, right now he's not that bothered, he'll play anywhere, but he's just so comfortable in possession of the ball. Be interesting to see, does he get the chance at Chelsea, like so many have gone out on loan, to eventually come back and try and establish himself in the first team. Still is just 20, just turned 20 a couple of weeks ago. Now Davies just throws the ball out through the air out to the right hand side. Roberts going to take on Stevens. He knocks it past Stevens, but it was a heavy touch given away though by Doherty at the back, and onto it quickly comes Smith, and he drills it across the 6-yard box. There's nobody there for Wales though, and Christie has it in this near side. He gives it away, then straight to Daniel James. James pass one challenge, dinks it to the back post over the head of Kiefer Moore, and it'll come to Enda Stevens. But Ireland were all at 6s and 7s at the back that time, and they ended up as Daniel James tried to take it on down the wing. 2 or 3 of them running into each other. Cyrus Christie has stayed down, but it's all got very, very sloppy at the back from Ireland.
I'm not sure what's happened to Cyrus Christie. He's back up on his feet now, but Matt Doherty and himself both, guilty of sloppy play. I thought Matt Doherty was one. McLean certainly could have given him a little bit of a help out. Didn't really want to drop in and give him a dig. He's ended up passing straight to the Welsh player, and luckily enough we were able to defend the situation. I think Doherty was clever enough with Kiefer Moore. He just leaned into him, didn't he, the big man? Just did enough to put him off his balance.
6 minutes gone in the second half. Still Ireland 0, Wales 0. Wales though starting the second half the better. You're listening to Off the Ball on this Sunday afternoon. If you're out and about, don't forget you can download the OTB Sports app. You can stay tuned to all our live commentaries every Sunday. 2 live and exclusive Premier League games back next Sunday afternoon as well. Now here's Malumbi. And out it comes to Cyrus Christie on this near side. 53106 the text number. If you're listening in anywhere out and around the world, do get in touch. We'll give you a shout out during this second half. Comes to Enda Stevens. Hasn't been able to get forward as often as he would like, Enda Stevens, but hasn't done anything wrong out in that left wing. Malumbi in the centre circle. Quick ball to Power, and he helps it on to Duffy. Duffy then again leaves it short for Robbie Brady and intercepted by Ben Davies, who takes a couple of strides forward, steps back inside and tries to set Wales off on the attack. Ramsey with the outside of his right boot plays it out to the left hand side, but there was nobody there. However, the referee took a long hard look, and so it was a late challenge on Davies, and he gives the free kick to Wales.
Yeah, he's read the Duffy pass, didn't he? You can see what he was trying to do. Shane Duffy sort of sent a postcard, but it really, Davies was clever enough just to nip in and get his team on the break, pulls in the foul.
Ireland's best chances quite often coming from interceptions where they can attack quickly. And they need to be careful at the other end as well, though, not to give easy opportunities up to the Welsh. Now here's Roden. Comes to this near side to Davies again. Heavy touch from him, so Robbie Brady's able to nick it away from him wherever he tried to take on the Welsh left back. And Davies had enough strength to pick himself up and win the ball back. James into the centre now to Ramsey, sliding it through to the onrushing Wilson, and well tracked over there by Doherty. Manages to just nip in front of Harry Wilson, and Ireland fire it forward towards Shane Long, who gets there ahead of Ampadu, flicks it out to the Irish left hand side to McLean, but he can't get there before Roberts, and it's back now with the Welsh goalkeeper again.
Yeah, well played. Matt Doherty showed on that particular occasion that he's more than capable of playing left side centre half, because he's held his position really, really well. It was a dangerous run from Wilson. He was nearly in on goal, but Doherty up to the task.
Bit of space for Ramsey, closed down by McLean, but time to lay it off to the right hand side to Roberts. Back to Aaron Ramsey again, just doing things whatever way he wants. Flicks it to this near side to Davies. Back into the centre again it goes to Morrell, but Ireland win the ball back, and Hendrick has it now. I haven't seen much of him. Lovely little step over there, brings him away. Sends it over to the left hand side towards McLean. Ampadu helps it on to McLean. McLean drifting out towards the left hand touchline, has support there from Enda Stevens if he wants it. Therefore Stevens sends across in. Shane Long heads over when he had to score. Huge opportunity for Shane Long. Again, Ireland with the intercept, they got the ball forward quickly, and Enda Stevens, when it came back from McLean, crossed it in first time. Lovely pace on it. Shane Long gets in behind the Welsh defence. Hendrick was there as well, and Long on the penalty spot has to head it down and heads it over the top of the crossbar. What a chance.
Just no excuses, Nathan. Absolutely no excuses for missing that. I thought Enda Stevens was excellent, because what he's done is he's played the ball in really, really early. It looked like he was going to take a touch, but he was clever in the fact that when it was pulled back to him, he just nicked it into a wonderful area, and he had Hendrick and Long lining up the head. But how Long can't hit the target from there is just beyond me. He's too casual. He's just way too casual. And it's a crazy, great chance. Should have scored. Should be 1-0 up.
Oh, it's a bad miss from Shane Long, who hasn't scored an international goal for 4 years. He's in behind, but I'm fairly sure he's in an offside position here, and eventually the flag does go up and the referee blows his whistle, and you can see Shane Long is still frustrated. He almost had too long to think about it. It was as if he was in an offside position. But, well, that is a gilt-edged chance missed, and I've mentioned already some of the statistics around Ireland's lack of goals. You've got to be taking chances like that. After Thursday night where they missed 3-4 chances, that's another bad one gone begging.
Yeah, this is the worry that, we spoke about it before the game, is it in the players' heads now? Like, he needs to go and bury that, you could see even his whole body language was wrong. Sort of let it flick off his head. No one attracted run. He is all on his own. All you had to do was guide it in the right direction.
And here comes Henrik again. It was he who helped start that move that almost resulted in the goal. And now a little back heel from Ramsey, and then from Smith as well. Turns possession out to the right hand side for Wales. There on the overlap is Roberts. Back it comes to Smith again, and Smith then goes back behind everybody, and Ben Davies will just have to track back a couple of yards to pick the ball up just inside his own half. So still scoreless, Republic of Ireland 0, Wales 0, but Ireland really should be in front. Shane Long with a huge opportunity to score his 18th international goal. Will Stephen Kenny be looking to the young players to come through over the next few years? You'd imagine some of the older heads like Dave McGoldrick will still get a chance, but Callum Robinson impressed on Thursday night. Adam Ida is a player he's a big fan of, and of course Troy Parrott hopefully to return at some stage as well. I don't know if any of them will ever be another Robbie Keane, but Ireland desperately need at the moment somebody to put the ball in the back of the net. Now Ramsey, what a pass that is out to the right hand side, and Roberts had made his way forward again. He's almost playing as a right winger out there, Connor Roberts, and he heads it back towards Harry Wilson, but Ireland were able to defend it and send it out for a throw in out on the far side of the pitch.
Well, it's becoming a bigger and bigger talking point, Nathan. I mean, goal scorers by their nature are just being, they've almost gone extinct now. They just don't exist anymore. Very much the game is coached from a different point of view. It's everybody has the ability to get goals, and that's something that we need to do, something Ireland needs to do more of.
Throw in sent in deep, headed clear by Doherty. Howrahan out to McLean, he loses out. And Wales feeling they should have had a free kick for a ball on a tackle from McLean onto the foot there of Roberts, but the referee allowed it to continue. Throw into Ireland. Howrahan has it, and the Cork man goes back to the Dubliner Matt Doherty, playing at centre back. Remember Matt Doherty after Kevin Long went off. He rolls it to Duffy, and Duffy comes to this near side then to the feet of Cyrus Christie, closed down by Daniel James. Still a Manchester United player. A bit of speculation over the close of the window that maybe they might allow him go out on loan. Made such a blistering start to his United career. I remember being at Old Trafford for his debut when he scored in a 4-0 win against Chelsea at the beginning of last season. Just struggled to keep that up as time went on. Still a big career ahead of him, you'd imagine, at 22 years of age. And when he's gotten the ball, he's looked dangerous. They just haven't really got him on it quite as often as they have Wilson over on the other side. Here come Ireland again. A little bit of space for Malumvidi. Brings it to this near side to Robbie Brady. Irish players waiting in the area. Brady on the right hand side of the area. Onto his left foot. Sends a dangerous ball in. Oh, and it almost ended up in the back of the net. It goes to the left and wide. It was whipped in so dangerously it bent over the goalkeeper's head and almost found its way into the back corner of the net. But Wales get away with it.
Oh, James McLean has gone down and he's gone up roaring looking for a penalty. It looks like he was claimed. He's getting his arm pulled. When I'm with you, I thought once Brady's hit that's going to go in the far corner. Keeper didn't really know much about it. It's gone over everybody's head, but McLean furious. Thinks he had a good opportunity for a penalty. Referee giving none of it.
I'm not sure that Robbie Brady, that was his intention. I'd imagine he was trying to cross it in. Remember, Ireland still have 2 changes left to make. The subs on the bench, the outfield substitutes are Darryl Horgan, Seanie Maguire, Josh Cullen and Jack Byrne. If Jack Byrne were to come on, it'll be the first time in 35 years since a League of Ireland player played in a competitive international for the Republic of Ireland. Will he get his chance? Another swinging
at the
elbow,
arm,
yeah.
Well, more of an arm than anything else. I don't see much in that age, quite honest. I think
Joe Morrell just sort of led into the Irish player, but we're going to have a free kick and we'll go again. An hour gone at the Aviva Stadium. Oh, it's turning into a cold enough afternoon in Dublin. Still the Republic of Ireland 0, Wales 0. Remember, Ireland, one more game to go. What else could happen over the next 3 days before they go to Finland for their final game of this stretch? 3 more games to come next month, where they will go to Cardiff. And we'll also have a home game against Bulgaria, and it seems also a friendly against Bosnia, which is a sort of 3rd and 4th place playoff from the playoffs that's worth nothing. Ireland on the attack. Jeff Hendrick pulls it back, appeals for a handball as the Welsh midfielder slid back in there, Morrell, but nothing doing. Malumbi again making life really difficult for the Welsh as they look to build out from the back. Comes to this near side to Davies. Davies picks a pass forward to Moore. Duffy puts his head in there bravely and manages to get the ball to Howard, who can now give it to Enda Stevens. Stevens with a lovely pass. Little step over from Hendrick. Long back to Hendrick again. Again, it's intricate play. It's really nice to watch from Ireland at times. They're trying to do something a little bit different. Enda Stevens has been very impressive in this game, and he's starting to get forward more and more as this second half goes on. As he played it in along the ground, it was a lovely little step over from Jeff Hendrick to leave it for Long with the first time return pass. Just couldn't find out Hendrick.
Sign of a confident team, Nathan. I have to say, when you've got players doing that, they know where each other is. You can see Hendrick there. Once Enda has banged that ball in, knew where Shane Long was, stepped over it, looked for the return pass. It was a good offload from Long as well, just defended well by Rodden. I think he read the danger. But I think I agree. I think Enda Stevens has been excellent in this game. I think he's now becoming the most creative player we have, because he's so composed on the ball, never forces anything, never overcomplicates things, very relaxed, and now he's even turning playmaker.
Long ball forward from the Welsh, headed on by Moore, but couldn't find one of his yellow-bellied teammates. And now Roberts flicks it into Wilson. First time ball back quickly then to Morrell. He couldn't find the return pass for Moore. And now McLean sets off in chase of Ampadu and forces Ampadu into the mistake, and he passes the ball straight back to Enda Stevens, who's playing this game with his head up, looking for options all the time. This time he goes short for Howrahan. And Ireland have it now with their captain once again today, Shane Duffy.
Really in control of this game now. You kind of feel that we're kind of creating the better opportunities. Obviously that wonderful opportunity that Long that he's missed has certainly given us that confidence level to go and get another. But not only are we creating things, possession is very good. We're starting to win the ball back up high, getting to the pitch of the game now completely and totally in control.
Remember, this is an Irish team missing 13 different players through a mix of COVID issues and injury, and you'd imagine 6 or 7 of them would have started today if they were fully fit. Doherty goes long, route 1 towards Hendrick, well dealt with though by Roden, heads it only as far though as McLean. Now it's Malumbi just inside the Welsh half, onto Robbie Brady. Brady trying to float one over the top for McLean. Again, the Welsh defenders under it. This time it's Ampadu, falls for Hendrick, lays it off for Malumbi. Oh, and he scuffs his shot completely from 25 yards. It's set up so nicely. You felt maybe that was going to be his big moment, and now Wales come away on the counter-attack. Here's Aaron Ramsey, 30 yards out, looking for options. Moore makes the run to the right. Doesn't have anybody to his left, so eventually he has to wait for the support on the right-hand side to come from Roberts. Roberts slides it back for Ramsey again. Right-hand side of the area. A little twist and a little turn here, but he's been forced out by Matt Doherty, and Doherty takes the ball brilliantly away from Ramsey. It was strong defending back there from Matt Doherty. You sense that Ramsey was running out of ideas, and Doherty didn't need a second invitation to come in and nick the ball away from him.
That was excellent from Doherty, wasn't he? He was very, very composed, never bought into any of the twists and the turns from Ramsey, and just waited for his opportunity just to poke it away from his feet. And again, Ireland come away with it, and it's looking more and more like we're completely in control of this game. Anything that Wales are throwing at us, we're dealing with it. But not only that, we're the ones on the front foot. That opportunity from Malumbi, he never had that else in his head, did he? It just needed a little bit more composure.
Here's Enda Stevens stepping into an almost central midfield position, and Robbie Brady fires a wasteful ball forward and out of play for a goal kick. Guilty at times, and we said this the last time we were at this stadium in the Finland game, guilty at times, Robbie Brady just trying too hard.
Sometimes he can be a little bit guilty of trying the wonder ball, I have to say. Yeah, he has it in the locker, he's got a wonderful left foot. He's capable of spraying the ball 50 to 60 yards. He's capable of doing things like that, but it's when to do it. You know, the decision making is always the key. And on that particular occasion, not only did he try it at the wrong time, but it was on his right foot, which he's not particularly strong on.
So 65 minutes gone, still scoreless between the Republic of Ireland and Wales. If you're just joining us this afternoon, well, Ireland really should be in front. The best chance of the game falling to Shane Long about 10 minutes ago. A free header inside the area, all the time in the world to think about it, and he headed it miles over the top of the crossbar. Ireland had half chances in the first half as well. Robbie Brady shot just wide. Cyrus Christie with an effort from distance, and for the Welsh, really only one chance to them so far. That a Harry Wilson effort, curled effort in the first half that was stopped by Darren Randolph in the Irish goal. But well, compared to where we were a month ago in the Finland game, this is a huge step up from Ireland. Certainly what people were expecting from a Stephen Kenny era. Far more progressive, pushing up high on the opposition, winning turnover ball, and when they get a chance to play football, doing the right thing. Wales are going to make a couple of changes. Coming on is Dylan Levitt, and one Liverpool man for another for Wales, which probably shows the depth of talent that they have in this group as well. Harry Wilson, who drifted out of the game in the second half, he's been replaced by the number 3 Neco Williams, who has himself a Premier League winners medal from last season, the 19-year-old, and a new contract to boot. And it's thanks to him that they have their 2 wins from 2 as well. Scored a 94th minute winner against Bulgaria in their last Nations League game. He's had quite a few months, Neco Williams, and he goes on out in that right-hand side, and we'll see. It looks as though he's going to play in that attacking position, generally seen as a right-back for Liverpool. A little bit of afters here. O'Malumbi's got involved, and there could be a bit of trouble. The referee's allowed play to continue. We may have to go back to that. There was a coming together in the middle of the field. Now it's over on the left-hand side. McLean with the cross in, and took a deflection and spins back into the arms of the Welsh goalkeeper, Wayne Hennessy.
Just needs to be careful there, doesn't he? Malumbi was himself and John Morrell. There was a little bit of a coming together with the heads. Don't know whether the referee obviously didn't spot it because he's done nothing about it, but
we've no VAR either, so we'll have to see from the replay whether Jason Malumbi got away with one, and that is the edge that Stephen Kenny in so many ways wants. But we saw at times he overstepped the mark with the 21s, had to take him off on one occasion where he was on a yellow card and felt he was about to be sent off, so just needs to watch that.
Plus, he's been excellent. He's been excellent in the game so far. I have to say, he's been very controlled, very energetic, full of vigor. But like you say, just at the flick of the switch, that's the dangerous thing. And it's always going to be the dangerous thing. That's just something as he develops, he'll have to just try to control. He's an international player now, and certainly I think he's going to be a key part of this squad. So he'll learn.
Yeah. So Wales bringing on 2 young players, an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old. Dylan Levitt he's a Manchester United player, but he's on loan at Charlton at the moment. So a lot of these young Welsh players playing at big clubs. Add Gareth Bale back into the mix, and they'll certainly feel they can do something at Euro 2020 next summer and beyond. Of course, semi-finalists at the last European Championship. Here's Ramsey trying one over the top for Daniel James, and Cyrus Christie just about does enough as he tried to hook it over his own head. He hooked it straight up into the air, but
yeah, with the outside of his right foot, Nathan, a bit like Matt Doherty the other day. I don't understand that at all. Understand why a little bit more. He's got a good left foot. It's more natural, safer to go with that with your left foot. Came off the back of Shane Duffy coming forward and a sloppy pass into Shane Long as well.
McLean with the header down. Long wasn't quite there. McLean frustrated that Long wasn't on his heels, ready for that knockdown. And we could do with a goal, Stuey. I think we could all do with a goal at this stage, and Stephen Kenny could do with one as well, because these have been 2 good, strong performances, definite signs of progress, definite signs of his game plan coming together. But if they were to come away without anything from the 2 matches, it'd be massively disappointing.
Yeah, I think you mentioned even the reaction from the Finland game. I felt was a huge overreaction. You're looking at players that hadn't even started their league yet, and you can see the huge difference that there's been now. In these 2 games, back to the Bulgaria and Finland game, I think there's been a huge improvement. Fitness levels, we look sharper, and we've definitely been the best team in this game so far. We definitely deserve a goal. The opportunity we have is a wonderful opportunity, but just got to put the ball in the back of the net, Nathan. It's very simple, and unfortunately at the moment we're just in the habit of not doing that. And someone's got to break the duck.
Will we see Jack Byrne at some stage, I wonder? Well, Daryl Horgan is about to come on. in just a moment. He's got his training gear off. And Ireland on the attack down this right-hand side with Malumbi. Wouldn't be surprised if it was either Brady or McLean. Of course, McLean played over an hour on Thursday night. Ball goes out to the right-hand side. Here's Nico Williams for Liverpool, or for Liverpool for Wales. He lays it off to Roberts. 20 minutes left at the Aviva. Listen to Off the Ball on this Sunday afternoon. This Nations League clash of the Republic of Ireland and Wales is still scoreless. Ramsey to Williams, out to Roberts, just on the edge of the Irish penalty area, over on the far side, the Welsh right. And Wales in yellow. Go back again. Ireland 10 men back behind the ball. Jeff Hendrick, the most advanced player at the moment. It slid through to Ramsey, opens up for Aaron Ramsey onto his left boot, edge of the D, takes the shot on, and is it deflected over the top? It is. It was one of those typical Shane Duffy challenges where he just throws his body on the line and he manages to deflect it with his back, I think, over and out for a corner kick to Wales.
Yeah, needed it as well. Once again, Ramsey finding himself in that real danger area, 20 yards out, centre of goal. Shifts it onto his left foot, and you can see what he's trying to do, curve into that far corner. Duffy up to the task, just done enough.
So the corner kick going to be taken by Daniel James. And Ireland wait to make that substitution with Horgan set to come on. They take it short. They don't do anything with it. Headed clear easily from the edge of his own area by Doherty. Davies has it, gives it to this near side to Morrell. And then quickly towards Ramsey. Christie thought that Ramsey got there ahead of him. It should be a throw into Ireland, but the referee points to our left and says it's a throw into Wales, which they take quickly. Now Ben Davies going to have a run at this Irish defence, brings it towards the edge of the area, took too much out of it, though he appeals for a little nudge in the back from Shane Long, but referee allows play to continue. Here is Long with the ball from Brady on this Irish right hand side, right down by the touch line, and Brady's pass forward is out of play, and it looks as though it's going to be, well, he's going to come back here for a yellow card for Daniel James. He just clipped the heels of Robbie Brady there as he was bringing it forward. Ryan Giggs looks a little bit bemused, and we're going to have a double change. Two former Dundalk men. And Darrell Horgan is about to come on in place of Robbie Brady.
And number 9, Shane Long, being replaced by number 18, Sean Maguire.
Well, I suppose before I anger them, I should say two former Dundalk men and two former Cork City men in Darrell Horgan and Sean Maguire, but two men very much made in the League of Ireland, and two players who were called up just on Friday after Aaron Connolly and Adam Ida had to leave the squad, and they both come on, and Shane Long and Robbie Brady are the two players who are about to come onto the pitch, are about to come off the pitch. So
yeah, and two players, Maguire and Horgan, who probably missed out a little bit under the previous manager or previous management. Certainly had a lot to offer, I felt, and I think Stephen certainly sees that. And I think Maguire is a good option in this game because you can drop in and he can be a good link player. Brings a bit of energy. Darrell Horgan will certainly bring a lot of energy down to this right hand side, which we probably need. Tired legs are there at the moment as well.
Yeah, it's a couple of years since Darrell Horgan won the last of his 6 Republic of Ireland caps. It was that friendly over in Poland after he played in that 4-1 defeat against Wales. And Sean Maguire on as well for the closing stages, see if he can nick himself a goal. What will be a second international goal for him in this, his 9th appearance. Scored that goal against New Zealand last year in the friendly. It was a cracking finish from Sean Maguire. So can they make the difference? 15 minutes left, still scoreless.
A little bit of edge gone out of the game as well, hasn't it? I mean, I felt Ireland were definitely in control in around that 60-minute mark for 10 to 15 minutes. So just substitutions, sometimes they take a bit out of the game, or tired legs as well, and it's probably the right time to make a change.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what opportunities Darrell Horgan gets under a manager he enjoyed so much success with at Dundalk. He's playing his club football now with Wickham. Now Howard, haven't seen a lot of him in the second half. That's a nice ball rolled forward along the ground to Hendrick. First time out to Stevens. He sends it through the air out the left hand side. Not the connection he wanted, but he picks it up again. Good strength, skips past one challenge, past another, 25 yards out into Stevens, gives it to Malumbi. Malumbi thinks about taking on a shot, rolls it to Horgan inside the area on this near side, drilled across, just behind Malumbi, and then it's cleared out of danger by Roden. But again, when Ireland got the chance to come forward, they came forward at speed. Some good quick fire passing, creating the chance, and it just lacked that finishing touch. But here they come again. Sean Maguire now on the right hand side of the area. Here's Horgan, slides it through from Malumbi, angle side, Jason Malumbi with the little back heel. There was nobody there, and Wales get away with it again.
I thought he should have hit it, Nathan. He's a great opportunity just to get on the turn, just smack it straight at the goalkeeper. Instead, he just obviously felt the goalkeeper was going to close him down. He's taken the touch and he's decided to back heel it to no one.
That's twice in the space of a minute that Malumbi timed his run inside the penalty area and got inside the Welsh defence, and you just say maybe he should have taken that first time, tried the little back heel,
just hit it on the turn. It was played nicely into his pad. I think he felt the keeper was going to come and close him down.
From Wales, number 20 Daniel James being replaced by number 17 David Brooks.
Yeah, so there you hear the substitution. Manchester United's Daniel James is replaced, and a good quality replacement coming on in David Brooks of Bournemouth. He had a long time out last season, and one of the reasons that Eddie Howe puts down to the relegation is that he was missing. Was out for 8-9 months with an ankle problem. Barely played at all last season. Don't be surprised to see him back in the Premier League very, very soon. So he comes on. He's going to provide a threat down this near side, you'd feel, for Wales. Is there to be a winner of this game? Doherty. On it comes to Shane Duffy. And back he goes to Doherty again, over on the left-hand side. Little ball to the touchline to Stevens. Again, he finds his teammate to Hendrick. On it goes to McLean. Crosses in for Horgan. Horgan with the header cleared off the line. And Horgan gets another chance and he volleys over the crossbar. How many chances do Ireland need to score? This time, Daryl Horgan did the right thing first off, one of the smallest players on the pitch. James McLean with a cross from the left-hand side, and Horgan held his run, headed down. It was cleared from 3 yards out, straight back to Horgan, and he just leant back as he side-foots it over the top of the crossbar.
You said it. Well, the initial header I felt was excellent. I think he's done everything right. He's certainly generated enough power to point it towards that far right-hand corner. I think Rodden came around on the cover just to clear it, and he's cleared it straight back to Daryl Horgan. Probably wasn't expecting it. Hits it first time, but professional player hitting the ball over from that 12 yards out is disappointing. Again, that goal eludes us.
Well, how appropriate it would have been if it was Daryl Horgan who scored the first goal in Dublin of the Stephen Kenny reign.
I don't care as long as it's someone, Nathan.
Anyone. Someone just put the ball in the back of the net at some stage. Well, the more it goes on, the more difficult it's going to become, you feel, under Stephen Kenny. They are creating chances, though, and isn't that the old cliche of what managers say? There's a little clip of the heels there by James McLean. I think he's going to get himself a yellow card. It was completely unnecessary. The ball was just rolling out of play.
He's gone down holding his ankle very badly. I think I'm not sure if it's Ben Davies or it's not, no.
I think McLean is saying whatever is wrong with the defender was nothing to do with him. Maybe they had a bit of a coming together. But
yeah, but I just had a look at it there. It was completely nothing on the behalf of McLean. You see what he's done. He's stood down the back of his Achilles. It's always
intentional?
I don't think so, Nathan. It didn't look like it. Just looked like one of them accidental ones.
Well, it looks as though Conor Roberts is going to be okay to continue. So yellow card then for James McLean on the occasion of his 75th appearance for the Republic of Ireland. Keith Andrews and Stephen Kenny deep in discussion at the edge of their technical area, as they were before the game, as well as they just tried to get their heads around what had been happening and how they could get this team on the pitch.
It can be frustrating for them as well, Nathan. You're constantly scratching your head going, what do we need to do here? And the reality is not much, to be quite honest with you, because you just need your players to score when they get good opportunities, as we have done. Just keep doing the same.
Lovely from Sean Maguire on to Malumbi to this right hand side. It comes to Daryl Horgan. Horgan with the cross in, and it's straight into the arms of the keeper. McLean was waiting patiently if there was a mistake from Wayne Hennessy, but no sign of that.
Yeah, I think, look, that's a poor cross from Horgan, and he knows it. I mean, Hennessy has proved one thing in this game, is that he's going to come out and he's going to catch anything that's in and around that area. It commands his area very well, I have to say. So the quality of the cross needs to be much better than that.
And Wales haven't offered a huge amount in the second half. Any of their chances really have come from Irish mistakes. And
yeah,
it's
look
hard
tired.
to remember too many of them.
Look tired, Wales. I felt they put in a hell of a shift in that first half. They were, that defensive shape requires an awful lot of work to do it correctly, and I think they were working very hard. And it looks like they're paying the price for it now. Ireland certainly on top.
Yeah, ending this game on the front foot. Now here's Jeff Hendrick, 25 yards out, takes the shot on. He tried to curl it into the top corner, but the keeper read it. I think everybody, the 200 or so of us that are in the stadium, read exactly what Jeff Hendrick was going to try and do there. But it's another shot on target. But still, Ireland can't get that goal. 10 minutes left. Republic of Ireland 0, Wales 0 here and off the ball. Lots of post-match reaction to come after the game with Joe. And again on OTB AM tomorrow morning from 7:30 with Ger and Owen. And we'll hear from Stephen Kenny as well post-match. And I fear that that is not going to be dominated by the impressive aspects of the Ireland performance. It will be dominated by this ongoing saga of the various COVID cases, or lack of, in the Irish camp, that have resulted in 5 players missing this game, in addition to Connolly and Ida. And it's all got very, very messy. So Stephen Kenny will have a few more questions, I feel, to answer on that. And we'll hear as well, I'm sure, who he's going to call up for that game against Finland. It seems that both Jason Knight and Darragh O'Shea are going to make the trip back from Italy. And if you're talking about travel and unnecessary travel, they've gone from Dublin to Italy. They'll come back from Italy to Dublin without playing a game and now go to Finland as well.
I'm just wondering where we are on that list. If you keep knocking off players, will you eventually
Stewie, do you bring the boots today, Stewie?
Always bring your boots, Nathan. Always.
And listen, given away there by Hourahan. You might get the call up now for the centre midfield. Stephen Kenny knows your talents, or lack thereof.
Well,
Keith Andrews might get in ahead of you. Now here come Wales again. Aaron Ramsey on the edge of the D, weaved his way through a couple of challenges, couldn't find the ball to Moore, who's done little or nothing in this second half. Kiefer Moore. Ampadu wins the header ahead of Maguire, but McLean intercepts, and he needs to be careful. He may well end up getting a second yellow card. James McLean, he is going to be sent off, and James McLean is sent off for the Republic of Ireland, and you could see it coming a mile off. He initially intercepted the ball down the left-hand side, but it was a heavy touch, and as the Welsh defender came across quickly, McLean just lunged into him, and having been booked just a matter of minutes ago, James McLean is sent off, and
he's going to get himself into serious trouble now as well, because he's gone back over to the player, and he's, a little nudge on the head as well. The player's down injured. You could see it. No excuses, Nathan. You can't do that. You're booked. Now, I think he's claiming he hasn't caught him. We're having a look at it again. He's clipped him on the toe.
At full stretch, though, was Ethan Ampadu, who scurried across quickly to get there ahead of McLean. But you could see here, having just been booked, he has to back out of the challenge.
Yeah, no excuses. Just can't, you mean what? Because a couple of minutes ago he was booked, and he was rightfully booked. When it's the same old thing. Once you're booked, you just can't do things like that. I think he's I don't know if there's a bit of after it, but he's claiming that Ampadu has made the most of it.
And he's still giving out as he walks off the pitch. So Ireland will have to play these final 7 or so minutes without James McLean and are down to 10 men.
It doesn't change much for Ireland. I think we're well capable of continuing on the way we were, even without him. Ireland's still on the front foot for me.
Oh, Seanie Maguire there as he tries to turn on the edge of the area. He's judged to have handled the ball. This was down that end of the ground that Seanie Maguire broke Stephen Kenny's heart in the FAI Cup final back in 2016 when he scored in the final kick of extra time to win it for Cork City against Dundalk.
Yeah, 35,000 or so here. How are you on the crowd thing? It's you kind of you have to deal with it, don't you? But you kind of don't want to deal with it. You kind of don't want to get used to it. Yeah.
No, it's all a bit strange. Particularly at the start of a new era like this, Sunday afternoon, there would have been a big crowd in.
Do you feel like if you allow yourself to get used to that, it's a bad thing because you're giving up almost. You kind of want, we know crowds are going to come back, but when is the difficulty? We just don't know when.
Yeah, it could be a bit away yet. Will they be back for the Euros next summer here in Dublin? We cannot wait to watch Northern Ireland against Sweden at the Aviva Stadium. What could have been, eh? So Wales have it now. Will that sending off change anything in the last 5 minutes? We've said Ireland by far the better of the second half. Somehow couldn't get that goal. Can Wales punish them? Wales have stolen late winners in each of their previous 2 games in the Nations League. Can they do it for a third consecutive game? It would pretty much guarantee them top spot. Neco Williams on the right hand side sends it in deep. Cyrus Christie heads it clear from the edge of his own 6-yard box. Maguire gets there first, heads it on, but it feels like it might be a backs to the wall job now for Ireland for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, you can see the impact that the send-off has had on us psychologically. We just seem to have reverted to a defensive shape now all of a sudden. I felt we had a lot more in the tank than that.
Now the shot comes in straight at Darren Randolph from distance from the substitute, and it was David Brooks who was just coming across field there from right to left, but it was easily dealt with by Darren Randolph, and probably one of the only saves he's had to make in this second half. Remember, Ireland, the best chance falling to Shane Long, who headed clear 10 minutes into the second half. He was 10 yards out, had to get it on target at the very least, and headed miles over the top of the crossbar. And well, Daryl Horgan had a good chance as well just a few minutes ago. Ireland down to 10 men. James McLean sent off for a second yellow card. Now Seanie Maguire holding the ball up well and managing to release Horgan, and here come Ireland. They've got a 2-on-2 break. Horgan has it midway inside the Welsh half, has Hendrick to his right hand side, going to be squeezed out of it. Still Daryl Horgan, and he can't get it to Hendrick, and Hendrick I think just made the wrong run, didn't really give him an option at all. Daryl Horgan had done the right thing initially, but just found himself squeezed out of it.
Yeah, first of all, how well did Sean Maguire do as well when he plucked that out of the air, used his physical just to push the defender off, took it with his chest and released Daryl Horgan. I think Daryl Horgan has to get Hendrick away earlier, doesn't he? We were 2v2 like you said, just held on to it too long and ended up running out of steam.
So James McLean will be another player missing now for Stephen Kenny for that trip to Finland on Wednesday night. And whatever about the second one, I don't think you can have any complaints about that. It was a silly tackle to make considering he was already on the initial yellow card, but the first one didn't seem like there was anything malicious in it at all. It was just completely accidental coming together.
Completely accidental coming together, but he's been booked for it, and you just know in the modern game, once you're booked, you have to be careful. And it's been in his game. It's always been in his game. It was always a plus for his game in years gone by, but you can't do it anymore, Nathan. It's as simple as that.
Here come Wales. Ben Davies, low crossing, comes off Christie inside the area. Back it goes to Davies on this left-hand side. He pulls it back, but gives it straight to Seanie Maguire, who's a long way one. There's a crunching tackle there from Maguire. And he got enough of the ball for the referee not to blow his whistle. It was Joe Morello, the player, who went down. Ampadu steps forward onto the chest on this near side of Davies. He goes down under the tackle of Cyrus Christie, who's already been booked as well. And I think he's going to get away with that one.
It's gone a little bit sloppy, hasn't it, really? A couple of crunching tackles going on. I thought Sean Maguire was in trouble there when he lunged into a tackle. It looked like he was going to come out at the worst. And Malumbi's down now as well. Looks like he needs treatment. Having a look again at the Davies and Christie one. Another kind of just stood on his toe, didn't he?
Ireland going to make another change. Josh Cullen is about to come on. Though Jack Byrne must be wondering, what have I ever done to anyone? So will it be Cullen for Malumbi? They're just holding fire for a minute. 90 seconds of normal time remaining here at the Aviva Stadium. It's all become a bit messy in the past couple of moments.
It looks like they want to change it, possibly, is it? You can see there's the fourth official seems to be indicating something to the referee.
I was thinking he's telling Malumbi to come off. Malumbi was part of a two-man wall, and Malumbi wasn't in any rush. He's strolling off. So Josh Cullen is going to come on. Malumbi isn't happy, and Josh Cullen will come on to win his third cap. Signed for Anderlecht this week, Josh Cullen. So he'll go into the wall alongside Daryl Horgan. The free kick's almost in line with the angle of the penalty area on this left-hand side, about 5 yards outside it, and a chance for Wales to steal it at death. It looks as though it's going to be David Brooks to send this one in. So can Ireland survive? Having played so well, it would be desperate luck to end up losing this game. The ball is floated in there. There's a hefty challenge on Shane Duffy, and he goes flying to the ground. So it'll be a free kick to Ireland from inside their own penalty area. Kiefer Moore maybe just expressing his frustration.
Oh, he took one there, didn't he, Duffy? Strong boy, Kiefer Moore. Stood his ground, Duffy, you have to say. Knew he was going to take the hit. Cleared his header and then got walloped.
So we're into injury time at the end of this game. Still scoreless. But another decent performance from the Republic of Ireland. 4 minutes of injury time to be played. This would be ordinarily when the roar of the crowd would go up and Ireland would see if they could somehow steal one with 10 men to go. And Darren Randolph, just with the edge of his D, smashes that ball straight out of play over on the far side, and it'll be a throw into Wales on the halfway line. And the ball boy was all alone over in the far stand. Well, he wasn't going to give. I thought he wasn't going to give him the ball back, but actually they found another ball, and Ethan Ampadu took the throw in. So it's with the centre half, Joe Roden here, brings it down this left-hand side. Now it's with Davies, closed down by Hendrick. Well, the other thing with Wednesday night in Finland in mind is some of these players now have played 120 minutes on Thursday night, 90 minutes today. What sort of shape are they going to be in? So
they'll be grand. They'll be tired, but look, it's all important about recovering. And I think momentum is important as well in the squad, Nathan. I think, you know, everyone recognises that there's difficult circumstances going on. We're losing players at the moment due to this COVID stuff, but on the pitch there's a lot to be positive about. Just need momentum.
Wales on the attack down the left again. Davies, but Cyrus Christie showed great pace there to track him all the way and slides in, but Davies, as he played the ball across, came off Christie appealing that it came off Davies last, but the referees decided to give the corner kick to Wales into the 2nd minute of injury time and be taken down to our left hand side. It's going to be Neco Williams, the Liverpool man, who'll whip this in with his right foot. Has Brooks if he wants to go short. Kiefer Moore is again going to be the target, you feel. Duffy on his heel, sent in by Williams. Randolph punches clear. It's going to come out, and it's collected there by Morell. He lays it off to Roberts. Back to Morell again, just inside the Irish half. To this left-hand side to Brooks. Wales have kept several players forward. Sent in by Brooks. Duffy's underneath it. Powerful header to get it clear up towards the halfway line. Ampadu onto his centre-half partner, Morell. And now it's Brooks again. Midway inside the Irish half. Wales really wouldn't deserve to go and win this game, and it's intercepted by Hendrick. He's drifting out to the left-hand side. Support there from Enda Stevens. Stevens fires it up along the touchline, and underneath it then was Ampadu, and he heads it straight out of play for a throw into Ireland over on the far side. And I think Ireland, having tried so desperately to win this game and creating enough chances to win it, are quite happy now to get out of this with a scoreless draw.
Yeah, it's just frustrating, isn't it, as well, Nathan? The sending off has just knocked the stuffing out of us completely and hasn't given us any opportunity to go and try and win this game. Even though we were on the front foot, we were playing very well, creating the better opportunities, and silly stuff from an experienced player, which you expect better of.
Well, Ireland have managed to gain about 15-20 yards there. Now have a throw in midway inside the Welsh half. Can they create one final opportunity? Over on the far side of the pitch, it's at the feet of Enda Stevens. Gets away from one tackle, doesn't have any options inside the area at all though, and a foul throw for the 2nd game in a row.
He looks confused.
Against
He seemed
an
to get
Irish
that quite
player.
late.
He obviously got word eventually from his assistant referee, but well, Liverpool employ a throwing coach. Maybe Ireland could he get him on international breaks, because one a game is
Well, you're saying
a bit unacceptable.
The assistant referee has indicated it to him.
Maybe he was on the pitch. So, final minute of injury time. We're almost done in Dublin. Still scoreless. And Wales have it with Aaron Ramsey, whose influence has waned somewhat as the second half has gone on. Ampadu inside the centre circle. Out to his right-hand side is Roberts. And Roberts comes forward, and the referee says, that is that. And it's finished. The Republic of Ireland 0, Wales 0, and Stephen Kenny's wait for a first victory as Republic of Ireland manager goes on. Again, his side have created enough chances to win the game, but they were wasteful in front of goal, and it means that there is yet another stalemate in Dublin. No goal, Stuey. More signs of improvement, but ultimately you got to take your chances.
Yeah, and the big worry for me would be that this has now gotten inside the head of the players. The 2nd game in a row now where we've come out on top, and we haven't won, even though we've created the better opportunities. I'm alluding back to the Slovakia game the other night and to this game as well. Certainly a game we should have won. We had the opportunity to do it. You know, Shane Long's had a wonderful header. needs to hit the target and doesn't, and that's an experienced player that can't even do that. So that's the big worry for us. I think Stephen's going to have to do an awful lot of work with these players, regarding picking their heads up, getting confidence back into them, making them believe they can score goals, because at the moment it just looks like we've no belief in front of goal.
Yeah, so a dramatic day that started with plenty of COVID-related drama ends in a dour enough scoreless draw. There were some bright sparks for the Republic of Ireland. The players just walking off the pitch, embracing at the moment. Matt Doherty walking off alongside Ben Davies. Ireland's best chance fell to Shane Long 10 minutes into the second half when he headed over from close range. Really had to score from there. Darrell Horgan had a big chance as well. James McLean sent off with 10 minutes to go after a second yellow card. And well, the atmosphere, there is none, and it's a strange old feeling as the full-time whistle goes. When will Stephen Kenny get his first win? Will it be in Wednesday night in Finland? Well, we'll hear from Stephen Kenny very shortly. More to come from Stuey as well, but full-time at the Aviva Stadium. Republic of